Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 20th monthly TWitWoW Q&A. Guys, I can't believe we've been doing these for long enough that this is the 20th one. That kind of blows my mind. In this, we will be answering all of the questions that you all have asked since our last Q&A. I can't even say all the questions you asked in February because I feel like more than half of the questions that were asked were still asked in January. It was just after our last Q&A in January because you guys are so goddamn prompt that when we finish one Q&A, you ask questions for the next one. That's amazing. It blows my mind. So, John, we have 59 questions to answer this month, and I'm curious how you're feeling about them, brother.
Brother, I'm feeling the same way about this Q&A as other Q&As. You know, I'm anxious to see what the questions were, but you know what? Since we've been doing this now 20 times, there's also that air of tranquilo. You know what I mean? Like, we're just going to ease back. We're going to answer these questions. By the way, you want to talk about prompt? James already got his March Q&A questions, and we haven't even done this one yet. We just went live with this one. So,
God damn it, James.
I know. I mean, it's why I love him. It's why he's bae. But, I mean, goddamn. So I'm very much looking forward to answering these questions. Guys, take a deep seat as always, because for the next few hours, our lives belong to you. And God, I shudder thinking about a group of individuals having that kind of power, but I digress. Ashton, let's get into these questions.
Well, as is sort of always the case, and as will be the case next month as well, James got his questions in before anyone else. So I like that we kind of have roles because James always gets his shit in before everyone and Alex Foster always gets his shit in after everyone. So it's like we know that we're going to have those two guys as our Q&A bookends consistently.
And we just got a $5 super chat from James. First off, frick your B itch and the click you claim. West Side, when we ride, come equipped with likes. Like the frickin' video. So yeah, thanks, I guess. Let's do this. I want to get in a more comfortable place. Let's do this.
Dang it. No, wait, I just want to point out, is James going through a self-censorship phase because he said frick and B instead of fucking bitch?
I don't know what's happening, dude. My reality is kind of coming undone, which is why I just want to get to these questions because nothing makes sense.
Reality is poison. All right, let's get to our James questions here. First one, actually, first two are just for you, John. First up, though, what was your most memorable moment from your conference in Colorado?
While there are many, and I think I remember the second question, so I'll still be able to tell that story, but it's more appropriate for the second question. I would say I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna give two because they both really meant a lot to me. One was when I met a fellow disabled philosopher slash, philosopher of disability. She works in that vein like I do. And we got so engrossed in conversations like about ableism and the nature of disability and all that stuff. Like the whole mall, which is like the room where a lot of the talks took place, the whole mall cleared out and it was only the two of us left who got so engrossed in conversation, save for like the hotel workers themselves. It was insane. It was so empowering and validating to see like an actual colleague, to the bone, not just a philosopher, but just in the same, field as me with the same struggles as me. And it was really cool. And she was very receptive and very supportive. And we're friends on Facebook now, which is even better. And then the second thing would be a woman that I met, where, what was I going to say? Where I didn't really get a lot of time to like talk to her personally, but I, hearing her opinions, I really liked what she had to say and I let her know it. And we were kind of talking in the hall on my way back to my room. And it was very, personal, kind of, heartwarming conversation. But at one point in it, she said, like, I've loved this conference. I feel like I found my tribe. And that was kind of the sentiment that I came home with. Like, I had found my tribe, too. I had found, that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And it was really cool to connect with people that emotionally, that intimately, which I did not expect at all. And no, Iconic Player One, I didn't get anybody's number like in that sense, but I did get like emails because people were professional and they had business cards. Meanwhile, Johnny Scumbag over here didn't come prepared at all, but now I've learned from my second conference, which will totally be a thing. And yeah, it was just really cool making friendships like that I will absolutely cherish. So definitely my favorite moments there from the conference. Outside of my talk, which people have told me that I killed, which I'm so grateful to hear. So next question.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question, also from James, also for you, John. what was your favorite thing from your trip that didn't involve the actual conference? Food, views, etc.
And this is where I'll tell the story because I love you guys. Yes. Yeah, Ashton knows what's coming. I love you guys. If you laugh at me, laugh at me. If you want to hold me and cry with me on the WWE Network, I will happily take you up on that offer. I got high while in Colorado, and because I'm not going to get into details because I don't want to get anybody in trouble unnecessarily, even though everything we did was totally legal within state laws. But somebody hooked me up with a birthday gift of, you know, marijuana gummies, and I was very grateful to them because I'm like, you know, I love gummy bears and this and that. I wanted that kind of experience, you know, that kind of edible. And you know, so I go after the talk, I'm thinking, you know, I'm feeling great, you know, whatever. And so I go and I open the gummy, and they're like 14 gummies in the pack. And now I really just as kind of a thing, I've gotten high before. This isn't like a first time kind of story. That's a separate story that I may tell you guys sometime. But I'm not really familiar with like dosage and potency and those kinds of things, right? So I take 3 of them to start because, see, even though I'm a philosopher, I've always had the type of brain where I can talk abstract concepts. I mean, maybe Ashton could vouch for me. I'd like to think I'm an intelligent guy, but I lack a lot of common sense, and I will readily admit this. So I'm thinking, well, you know, they're small. They can't be that powerful. So I take 3 of them. I talk with my sister a little bit, you know, and I'm just like, I'm feeling good. And they're like, oh, it may take 90 minutes. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to get out in front of the hunger, right? And we're getting to it, Asia. Believe me, guys, I'm telling the story here. I'm telling you the whole story. I decided to get out in front of the hunger because I love food, right? And that's the best part for me about getting high is just gorging and just enjoying the food. So I go to a restaurant, nice table open. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to eat? I actually showed restraint. I didn't get the dessert. I ended up getting a thing of wings and 2 flatbreads, which, seeing them, they were really big. I honestly should have had 1, but again, knowing that you're high, you can eat anything at that time. I'm like, whatever. And like 2 tables in front of me, there seemed to be these people. And at first I didn't know where they were coming from, right? Because at first I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if she's here for the conference because it's this woman talking with this guy about feminism and patriarchy. And here I am, right? Like this conference has filled me so full of love and community. I'm like, yeah, right on. Fight it. Fight the power. And then they go into conversations like about Europe and about how Germany's the OG. So I'm like, wait a minute, is this like a white supremacist feminist? Like, is that a thing? Like, what am I? Is this the high? Like, what the fuck is happening? So yeah, like that was interesting, right? And then while I'm waiting for my food, which took a very long time, I could feel the high start to set in. And the thing about it is like, if I'm not mistaken, now again, somebody, because I know like hypothesis, I mean, high's in the name, he'd probably know more than me. But I if I remember correctly, THC does have certain psychoactive properties. That's not to say that it's a full-blown psychedemic, but you know that it has psychoactive properties. So I have this glass of water, right? And I just start laughing my fucking ass off openly in the restaurant. And like I'm never really this public with me being high. It's always like a very private affair. So I'm laughing my fucking ass off. And I'm a one-man party, baby. It's a one-man symposium. Shit is good. And I am conversing with this glass of water in just the deepest philosophical shit. Because I'm thinking about like all these different you know, concepts and I'm going to write this when I get home. And I'm feeling like strangely inspired and productive. And I'm sharing it with this fucking glass of water. So like, and the glass of water too, the best part was like, I could see a rainbow in it. And it would go from like a rainbow to like a rainbow vortex that was like sucking me in. And I felt like sounds were amplified. And I just felt like completely, I don't want to say transported, but I really felt like my body and my surroundings were so foreign to me. So I'm listening to these, this white supremacist feminist that I can only, you know, deduce that that's what's happening here while conversing with this glass of water about my genius, which essentially the conversation is, Oh, me, what do you think about this concept? Oh, me, you're so right and brilliant. Oh, me, I've waited so long to hear that. Like, really a validating conversation. And yeah, the glass of water was great. I mean, MVP of the conference, hands down. So then the food comes. I'm gorging, not even realizing how big these flatbreads were, like a fucking, thing. So I'm eating that. I'm just having the time of my life. And then somebody that was at the conference that attended my presentation, stuff like that, she sees me and she comes up and I'm like, oh shit, play it cool, John. You can't let them know that you were high. And so I'm like trying to keep it together. And she's like, oh, we're having a party like on the 5th floor. Do you want to come? And like I told Ashton, like I was petrified because like I, again, have never been visibly high. I know, iconic player one. I know. I've never been like visibly high with anybody. So I was petrified at the prospect of being that public. Of course, after me and Ashton talked, he's like, dude, you totally should have offered him the drugs. Like you totally should have gotten high with these people and bonded. And I honestly wish I would have taken the chance, but I was so afraid of like being ostracized and being looked at like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Put that away. Like, what are you thinking kind of thing? And it was my first conference and I wanted to play it straight. So I had to like feign to her that I'm not high out of my fucking mind right now because these gummies fuck me up. Because the thing you got to understand about me too, guys, I don't get high with a lot of regularity. So my tolerance was really low when this happened. So I'm just like thinking, I got to get the fuck out of here, do whatever. And then I go back to my room, and then that's when it becomes a bad trip because I start thinking to myself, oh my God, I've got to pack. I barely slept through the whole conference. I think I got like, I don't know, 4 hours of sleep at most. It really wasn't a lot. My body was feeling it. And I'm like, well, I got to pack. I got to order an Uber. There's no way I'm going to be able to take the rest of these. Like, no fucking way. I mean, these 3 fucked me up, and there were still 11 in the pack. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Because you can't take it back with you. Fuck drug laws, by the way, because I would have loved to have taken these home and done them, sparingly in my own time. So I'm like, and you can't leave it in the hotel because like I actually read a story of a guy that left it thinking that he was being generous, leaving it for hotel staff, and they gave him like a $200 charge. So I'm like, fuck, what do I do? And me not feeling at my most rational, like I'm panicking, I'm spiraling. It's like I'm almost like an ego death kind of thing. I feel like my whole world just falling apart on me. So I call my sister. I'm like, shit, what the fuck do I do, man? These drugs are fucking sick. Like, what do we do, man? What do we do? And she's like, whoa, calm down. It's like, just flush the shit and like, just leave the trash, like the actual receptacles of it. That's perfectly fine. They shouldn't be able to do anything for you if the actual substance in question is out of their hands. So yeah, like out of a freaking drug film, like the cops are going to bust at any moment. I flush the product and then I'm just looking to get fucking home. But yeah, easily. I thought the time, well, actually, no, I'm not going to get into that story, but I thought one other story that I told Ashton was the worst high I'd ever had. This was kind of that, but it also did have positives to it, So like, I can't totally bemoan it because that glass of water was just an absolutely enthralling conversation. And yeah, I regret nothing. And just, yeah, so that was my favorite part, I guess, non-conference related, was getting high, both in that restaurant and in my hotel room. And I think the woman even looked at me one point because she could hear me laughing. And I don't know if she was trying to determine, is he laughing at me? And I just would have said, no, ma'am, I'm just having the time of my life over here. I'm a party of one, baby. So yeah. That's me getting high. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. And yes, Hypothesis absolutely pushed that glass of water. Glass of water, you were the real MVP. So hope that was a satisfying answer to your question, James. And I think we can move on to our next question.
All right, next question. And yes, guys, I am still here. The next question is for both of us. Has there ever been a time when you did not feel passionate about wrestling? And if so, how did you get your passion back? And since you've been doing most of the talking so far,
yes, please.
Here, I really recently, it's not even necessarily like, this happened a long time ago or anything. Just over the last few years, I lose my passion for WWE every fall because they just don't try during the fall. And the way that I got my passion back for wrestling as a whole was to not watch WWE in the fall and find other promotions that I liked. I think that the secret to maintaining passion about wrestling is to consistently be on the lookout for new things that you like personally.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that sentiment. Just to answer this very quickly, since I know my other answers have been more elaborate, the only time I could ever really feel like my passion take a hit was when Benoit died, because like that was my guy at the time. It was such a traumatic event, obviously for those closest to Chris first and foremost, and those those affected by his actions, but I think by a lot of wrestling fans, because as we know, the only time the media ever really cares to cover us with any kind of like extensive nature or any kind of care is when it's something negative. So then a lot of wrestling fans got like maligned and ostracized and, et cetera, et cetera. And I just felt so burned out. But then the glory and the greatness of Johnny Mundo kept me in it. And so it really didn't take long for me to get it back. But yeah, that was the one time where I'm like, can I even keep watching after this? Because it was just so bad. I mean, I think even if it was more of an Eddie Guerrero thing where it's just like, oh, he died, like that would have been hard, but I would have gotten through it. But then you had the extra layer of, oh no, he also did this really monstrous thing in his final moments. Yeah, man, it was really fucking hard to deal with. And I'm just glad that I still love wrestling because, events like Monday and Seth Rollins' performance is why I'm glad I'm still here enjoying it. But yeah, that was really the only time I could say I ever really lost my passion.
Yeah, and you know what? There was another time, I want to say like 06, 07 to the very end of 2009, I just straight up didn't watch WWE. And what got me back into it, believe it or not, was Sheamus beating John Cena at TLC 2009. And I know that sounds crazy, but the reason that I lost my passion was because of John Cena's reign of terror at the top. Like, him beating JBL in like 11 and a half minutes at that one WrestleMania really made me like really jaded about wrestling in general, because that was like the first big step to me like hating John Cena was him beating Edge in Canada in a TLC match for the world title. And then I think I don't know how much longer after that it was that I just completely lost my passion. So like Cena going over like a bunch of guys like JBL at WrestleMania after that long title reign, and RVD in, or not over RVD, but, just Cena getting those big wins over the more popular guys that I also like your Edge and I actually didn't even like JBL, but I felt like Cena beating him in such a short match after such a long reign really didn't do it justice. And then, Jericho, I think, and I think Triple H too. I think all those guys seemed just kind of plowed through, and at the end of the line, it might have even been the TLC match against Edge that made me stop watching, and I didn't come back until Sheamus beat Cena at TLC, and I only found out about that because my mom was watching the whole time, and she was like, "Yeah, there's this Sheamus guy. He's scary. He's super pale, and he's got bright red hair." And then I come back and I see this big, like 6'6", muscled up, scary dude, and he beats John Cena. It's like, well, hell yeah, I can get into this. So that was like my return to the wrestling scene.
Right, right.
Yeah, like I can't name anything that happened for the most part in like 07 and 08 and most of 09. So I still paid attention in like the WrestleMania buildups, but other than that, I really didn't watch wrestling. And that was also when I was at college, so I didn't really have time for it either.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think those were adequate answers to the that question. Next question.
Right. Fourth and final question from James. What is your biggest fear about your future? Do you fear getting old or not having enough money to retire, etc.?
I'll answer this first. It's definitely getting older, but not just for the reasons you might think. It's not just ideas of mortality or this and that. It is because I do have cerebral palsy, and I have been told at least by one doctor. I don't know how technologies or even how I'll change in the course of time, but it's like, you are going to lose mobility, which, is a really painful kind of pill to swallow when, I love hiking and really, if I didn't get the surgeries I did when I was younger, I would have been totally, wheelchair bound, and then that is an image that always kind of frightens me, into action, to stay fit and this and that. So yeah, I just think the complications that come with having cerebral palsy, with being disabled in a world that isn't exactly, the kindest to disability, but that's another matter for another time. It's a frightening prospect for me. So I definitely think that's definitely what I'm terrified of the most on a very selfish individual level. Obviously there are bigger concerns that are broader, but yeah, that's what I'm going to answer there. So what about you, Ashton?
I think I really do think that my biggest fear is just never really making anything of myself, because I know that I've got a lot to offer, different sort of, how do I put this? I know that I have a lot to offer in certain fields, and I don't want to end up never being able to contribute in that way.
Right.
Like when it comes to what we're doing right now with wrestling, or what I'm doing with my football related stuff, and you know, just different things. Like I know I have ideas, I know I have good ideas, and there's just a lot that I want to be able to contribute to long term, that I know I'm still a while away from actually being able to put anything useful out there yet. But I just don't want, 15, 20 years to go by and be in the same spot where I'm just like, yeah, well, I'll soon be able to do it. Like, I really do want to kind of act on my research within the next like 2 years, I would say, maybe 3 at most.
Absolutely. That's totally resonant with me, because even though I didn't say it, everything that I'm doing in philosophy right now, like I do want to make that dent. I want to know that I gave everything I had, which I feel like kind of ties into the getting older issues, because I feel like disability affects every facet of my life, and it's a scary thing to think about. So yeah, your concerns definitely very resonant with me as well.
All right. Up next, we have 4 questions from Hypothesis. First one is, will the Usos never get to be on the main card of WrestleMania?
Oh,
I'm thinking this year they will, honestly.
I'm hoping this year they will. I mean, God knows, with it being a 7-hour affair, they may just be like the third match on the pre-show, because the pre-show will be its own big card.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it was 7 hours last year, and there were still only 3 pre-show matches on that. So,
yeah.
And I mean, there's still a chance that they'll do the armbar on the pre-show. They did that in 2016. I think 2017, the armbar made the main show. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We might get a women's championship match in the pre-show, although with the way that they're pushing for the women now, and especially with the entrance of Rousey, maybe not. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that they won't this year, but I definitely think that they will, either this year or next. I'm hoping it's this year. I really do, because especially if like, because we're getting them versus New Day. I'm thinking Bludgeon Brothers versus either one of those teams would be a great match to have on the WrestleMania card. I freaking love the Bludgeon Brothers. So anyway, John, any other thoughts on this question?
No, brother. I think we can move on. I don't really think I ever really answered it.
No, you did say yes.
Yeah, I do think they'll get on the main WrestleMania card. I just hope that WWE believes that too. So yeah, I think other than that, you gave a great answer there, so we can move on.
All right. Well, up next, second question from Hypothesis. If Bray Wyatt were to join Lucha Underground, how would you feel about him turning out to be the leader of the Invisible Cult?
I guess I'd be okay with it. I just feel like Bray's lost a lot.
Really interesting, because like,
yeah,
about it, what does the Invisible Cult's sort of imagery invoke so far? The guys with the vests and the big bushy beards, like that's what we're used to, and Bray fits that imagery. Well, if he's the leader, you put him in a black leather vest. I think that would look badass. Yeah, I think that would look really cool. That'd be awesome, actually.
I think I'm inclined to agree with you. I just think my problem is, oddly enough, the problem I had with Seth until very recently, it's like, I know how good Bray can be. It's been so long since I've seen it that I kind of forget what it looks like. So I'm tentative about him really doing anything, especially with a place I love as much as Lucha Underground. But writing is such a huge part of it, and I feel like if they had a character like Bray, they'd kill it. So yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. That would be interesting to see. So next question.
All right. Up next, third and not final, but third question from Hypothesis. For Johnny Goodfellow, oh, this is interesting. This is for Johnny Goodfellow, but it's an FMK. You know what FMK is, right?
One of it's a swear, the others marry, and the others kill.
I'm surprised kill isn't a swear to you.
Still dirty, admittedly. What's the question?
FMK, Doku, Yurei, and Hitokiri. Or if you just want to use the names that you're more familiar with them, Kairi Sane, Mayu Iwatani, and Io Shirai.
Well, I feel games like this are very bad, but since it's Q&A, I'll be a good sport and I'll try.
Oh my god.
I guess killing Mayu Iwatani, definitely marrying Kairi, because we could be so happy together and make just the most loving and inviting home. And I guess I would have relations with Io Shirai. You okay over there?
That's a satisfactory answer.
Yeah.
If you were asking me the exact same question, I would have the exact same answer. So fair. Next up, this is also from Hypothesis for both of us. Do either one of you play Super Smash Bros? And if so, which video game character would you like to see in a 5th installment?
I played the first one quite a bit. I never even really explicitly owned it. I did play it a little bit too on an emulator, which kind of sucks. I feel like Super Smash Bros. Is a game where it's like control or bust. I am a fan, even though I've played it very little. As far as a video game character for a 5th installment, I've always wanted like a DBZ character, which could count as a video game character because DBZ has a shit ton of games in a Super Smash Brothers setting. So I'm going to go with my boy Vegeta in a Super Smash Brothers game. What about you, Ashton? Because I know you're a big fan of the series. So what are your thoughts on that?
And before we get into my answer, Javaris Carter did give us a $2 super chat with literally the exact same answer that you and I both gave. Mary Kyrie, Smash EO, Mayu gotta go, sorry. So, yes, I love the Super Smash Bros. Melee game. The first one is pretty good. Melee, I freaking love. And yes, I am a Melee Master Race type person where I haven't enjoyed any other Smash game since then. Although I can't say I haven't enjoyed them. I just can, in my eyes, they're not as good. I loved Brawl when it came out because of the story mode and just like being able to kind of play through that and unlock the characters through that. But once I finished the story mode, I didn't really play it nearly as much as Melee. And I never played Smash 4. Yeah, Smash 4 was one of those things where I saw people playing it and like when I watch other people play it, like I can tell if I would enjoy it or not. Cause like with Melee, just watching people play Melee gets me hype as hell. Watching Brawl bores me, and watching Smash 4, it just feels cheap. Like it literally just feels like the winner is whoever like gets the most cheap ass combos on the other person. Whereas Melee does not feel like that. Not even Brawl feels like that. Like Smash 4 just feels very kind of elementary to me. I don't know. It's just kind of lame in my eyes. Iconic Player One just said he's a camper. You would love Brawl, especially Jigglypuff and Brawl. Or no, not Diggs, Kirby. Kirby and Brawl, I think, is the one that does the camping. But yeah, so I love Melee. As far as what a new character should be, I'm still waiting to get Isaac from Golden Sun in Smash Bros. I know that he's in Super Smash Flash 2 now, but I'm not super happy with the execution of the character and the mechanics of the character in Super Smash Flash 2. But I would love to see Isaac show up in a new Smash Bros. Game officially released by Nintendo, because Isaac is from Golden Sun, and Golden Sun isn't technically, it's a Nintendo game. It was released by Camelot. I don't know if that's like there's a problem with Camelot that it's not a subsidiary of Nintendo anymore, or if it ever was. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but it was on a Nintendo system, so I'm assuming that they would be willing to use it. So yeah, Isaac from Golden Sun is my best answer. I guess another answer, since they have Sonic, why not add Knuckles or Tails or both? Because I love those characters too. So yeah, that's about the extent that I'll go to. Up next, though, we do have 4 questions from Races Fan Rocks 4. First 2 are for me. First question is for me, and it is: if you're living in the Pokemon world, what would your 6 be? Oh God. I don't think you realize the can of worms you open when you ask me this kind of question. Okay, so you would have to have some kind of a flyer just because of the convenience and being able to get around and stuff. So I guess flyer, I like having Pokemon that have good defensive stats and resistances. So I would go with Skarmory as my flyer. And shit, while we're at it, we might as well just go with the old Gen 2 Skarm Bliss combo. I'll get Blissey too, since then I can also get that automatic healing out in the field. So Skarmory and Blissey would be kind of the core of my team. I am a big fan of ground types, so I'll go with Garchomp because, of course. Let's see. fighting type I like to have. So with a fighting type, let's go with my favorite starter ever, Infernape. So far we've got Skarmory, Blissey, Garchomp, and Infernape. What else do I want? I do want an ice type, or no, I guess I have Garchomp for dragons, but I could still use an ice type. So let's go with Weavile. And then what's left? Some kind of a grass or an electric type or something like that. You know what? I'll just stick with my old Gen 4 go-to and say Rose Raid. It's probably not the best option, but it's all I can think of right now, and I'm not trying to stall this out. So yeah, that's my final team. Skarmory, Blissey, Garchomp, Infernape, Weavile, and Rose Raid. So that's my real life Pokemon team, because then you get, oh shit, can any of them use Surf? Let me see if Blissey. I think Blissey can Surf. That's kind of hilarious. Oh god. Oh, let's see here. Damn it. I don't think Blissey can Surf. Okay, swap out Weavile because I need something that can surf. So swap out Weavile for like a Walrein or something, like a big water ice type. Like Lapras. We'll go with Lapras. Starmie. We'll go with Starmie. So yeah, there we go. That's the team. Skarmory. Oh god, I'm gonna have too much. I'm gonna forget. Skarmory, Blissey, Garchomp, Infernape, Starmie, and Rose Raid. Holy shit. All right, we're moving on. Next question, also for me. Name 4 cities, and shit, man. This isn't for just me, this is for both of us. I'm gonna make this both. Each of you name 4 cities for the XFL that a team might be located in.
XFL cities. I'll say, XFL, you're going to do it big. Las Vegas, Nevada.
We got a $5 super chat from Javaris Carter. I kind of hated that Ganon was basically a copy of Captain Falcon on Melee. So just talking about different characters that were really close, really similar to each other. I know Ganon wasn't like a literal clone, like they didn't have the exact same stuff, and they did more to make him and Captain Falcon different characters in Brawl, but Captain Falcon was still infinitely more usable in Melee than Ganon because of hitboxes and certain, frames where it's, like a delay in between hitting the move and recovery frames. That's what they're called. And that kind of stuff. Captain Falcon is like one of the best characters in Melee, and Ganon is like middle to lower tier. Anyway, John, resume.
Said
Vegas though. So I think rather than you listing 4 and then me listing 4, we'll just go back and forth. So you said Vegas. I'm going to say, because I think Vince is a smart guy. I think that he's intelligent enough to know, for the most part, to stay out of cities that NFL teams are already in, which could be a problem for your Vegas team because the Raiders are going to Vegas in a year. So I'm going to say Portland, Oregon for one of the teams.
I hate to ask this of you, partner, but you know infinitely more about football than I do anyway. Do you know cities where there aren't really major football? I was not even really thinking about that. So my next cities were going to be like a Texas city, because I know like the deep south, that's like football.
Dude,
that's like
San Antonio.
All right, San Antonio.
All right. For my for the 4th city, my 2nd city, I will say Mexico City, Mexico.
All right, and I think that's a pretty sweet freaking list, so I guess we can move on.
No, it's 4 teams each, dude.
Oh, fine. I thought we were going to do sharesies. Well, help me out, dude. What other cities really aren't like hotbeds in the NFL?
Well, I mean, just think of a city that you don't know of an NFL team being in, and I'll let you know if there is one.
Gainesville, Georgia.
What'd you say?
Gainesville, Georgia.
Well, the Falcons are like the Georgia team. I don't know. I don't think that they're near Gainesville, though. I don't know how big of a city Gainesville is either. Let me look. Gainesville, Georgia has a population of about 38, almost 39,000. How close is Gainesville to Atlanta? Let's see here. About 4-hour drive. Or no, that's Gainesville, Florida, Georgia to Atlanta. That's only about an hour's trip, so you probably don't want to go there.
Okay. Just trying to think. Yeah, it's really hard. I liked your answer, Portland, Oregon. Let's see what some of the chat said. Any cities in California? No, that would be
San Jose.
Okay, so I'll go with San Jose then. So that's like what my third team because I did.
Yeah, that's your third team. It's our fifth team.
Okay.
Let's see. We need to get a team in the Northeast. So I am gonna say, let's see. We already have a bunch of teams in Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York. You know what, though? I feel like even though the New York Giants and New York Jets are billed as being from New York, their stadiums are still in New Jersey. So I'm actually going to say I want a team in New York City, the Brooklyn team. It's going to be like the Brooklyn Mets, the Brooklyn, that kind of thing. No, it's going to be a Brooklyn team in the XFL.
Okay, interesting. Fourth and final team. God.
I already have one in my back pocket for my fourth team. So
Greenwich, Connecticut.
I feel like that's a really small town, isn't it?
I mean, it's close to WWE headquarters. I don't know if Vince would want to really shit where he eats, but.
Well, total population is 61,000. That's not too bad. But I think isn't San Jose, California, isn't that in the hundreds of thousands of residents? I feel like, yeah, the population's over 1 million in San Jose. So that's the kind of city you want to be looking for.
Okay. Yeah, what about Boston, Mass? Iconic had a good one. What about Boston?
Patriots.
Oh, God damn it. That's right. The whole New England area is kind of siphoned off. God damn it.
Yeah, and Portland, Oregon has a population of over 3 million. So yeah, you want big cities here.
Okay. Let me look up something real quick.
Okay.
I just thought of a random state and I'm going to go with it, but I want to find their biggest city first so that we can play according to these rules here. Let's see. Okay, I'm pulling this place up. Sorry it's taking so long, guys. That's why I really don't always care for questions.
They don't mind. They like brainstorming as much as we do.
I'm gonna say Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh, that's a hotbed right there. That's interesting because there aren't any. Although that's a smaller population one too. It's only 121,000. I don't know.
God damn it.
I love the idea because you're really situating it far away from there is no big football in North Dakota. North Dakota State isn't even a tier 1 FBS school in college. So you're really getting that distance from major football cities.
I don't know, dude, because I'm looking here. Fargo, according to 2018 measurements, 125,202. I want to go with it. I'd take my chance on that.
That's fair, man. That's fair.
Because then the next biggest one, you got to see the disparity here. Because then the next biggest one is Bismarck, but that's only 74,711. So it's night and day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. And then I think my fourth and final city, the one that I had in my back pocket, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, baby.
Oh, that's smart. I like that. That's a great pick.
We're getting one in Mexico and one in Canada, and one in the Northeast, and one two on the West Coast. And what was the team? Did we even? Oh, and Brooklyn. I said Northeast. There was another team. I don't remember. I already lost track of what the goddamn names were. The cities were. But you guys heard them. I'm not going to try and remember them. Let's move on to the next question. This is for both of us. If you can go to Progress Wrestling at the O Arena, would you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Progress seems like such an intimate and fun atmosphere. Yeah, I wouldn't even have to think twice. Sounds like a great opportunity to me.
All right. Yeah, I would probably. It depends. If it would be an all expenses paid trip where I don't have to worry about airfare or a hotel stay or stuff like that, I would definitely go. But if we're talking about you can buy tickets and fly there yourself, then hell no, because I'm broke as hell.
Yeah.
Question from Racist Fan Rocks. When you have kids, what would their names be? Try and pick one name for a boy and one name for a girl just in case.
Oh God, it makes me think of conversations I used to have with an ex of mine.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Is this the English one that I'm remembering?
Yeah, I believe so. What was I gonna say? Shit. Okay. So I think for a female, I would go with Hypatia, and for a male,
I'm assuming that there are deeper meanings to these.
yes. And for a male, what was it? What did I used to joke?
What would Hypatia's nickname be? Like, what would you call her? Like, you're not going to say Hypatia every time you address her.
Hype, because she is the hype.
Oh my God.
And then for a male, what was the joke I used to say? Like, I'll come back here, and they were just like, "No, we're not naming our son that." I'm trying to remember because I know it was like a really like out there Greek name. God damn it, I can't remember. Shit. I guess I would name them Democles. There you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think a cute. This is like you're going way deep, and I'm just like, oh, what's a cute sounding name? So for a girl, it would be like I think Lily would be a good name for a girl. And for a boy, oh man, I'm just laughing at you with your Democles. It's like, I like Lily for a girl. That's like one of those names that I feel like it's hard to make fun of. Like you're not like making the little girl like an easy target for the little kids to make fun of their name, you know, that kind of thing. For a boy, can't go with Mike because it's too easy to make Mike Hunt jokes. Let's see, can't do Terry because Terry Bollea is a piece of shit. Man, I gotta think about the boy's name. And no, Birdie Joe is not a good name. Not because like who the hell names their child Birdie, but also because BJ Danielson. What the hell, man? I like Dante. That's a strong name. I like that iconic. Yeah, I really am bad at coming up with names on the spot. Like I'm the type of person who starts a new game and thinks for like a half hour on what to name the main character. So that's the kind of thing that that's the kind of person that I am. So just for the sake of ending this question, I'm just going to roll with Dante because I love that name and Iconic mentioned it. So we'll just roll with that. Next up though, we had 4 questions from Rotten Butter, who I saw was in chat earlier, but hasn't said anything since. So might not be anymore. First up, cool shit, the question.
Coolest shit I did this month was my fucking conference. Easily. And I already told you guys a little bit about that. I'd love to go over the whole conference experience, but we've got so many other questions. I'm not even going to do that. So moving right along, we did the first episode, the family and I, of Altered Carbon, which is really looking really good. It's a really good show. I'm quite enjoying it. I watched the anime Psycho Pass, and I remember Rotten Butter saying that he was curious about my thoughts on that. Loved it. Did not expect as many philosophy references explicitly that there were in there. That was really freaking cool. And really the concept of the show I thought was brilliant. Yeah, definitely one of the better animes I've watched in a while. I also watched Psycho Pass 2, which I don't think was as good as Psycho Pass, admittedly, but still on the whole, a very enjoyable experience. Let me think what else. You and I have been just recapping the whole MCU, so that goes without saying. Still playing a shit ton of Rocket League. I got some new games on Steam, but I haven't really played them yet, so I won't really count that. Have I read anything like book-wise? No, I don't think so, even though I've been looking to get back. Yeah, it is great, man. It is great. Yeah, I really can't think of much else because, yeah, really all my thinking's been dominated this month, like every other month, by philosophy and just the reverberations of my conference. And you were here, Rotten Butter, for actually, no, I think you just came in as I was in the midst of telling my I got high in Colorado story. So yeah, I think that's gonna be all for me, and I'm just gonna hand it over to Ashton. So Ashton, what did you do this month?
Well, we this month watched all 3 Cloverfield movies.
That's right. That was a thing we did. God, those were great.
And we started watching Legit,
Yes.
which is great, which everyone should watch. And I've been doing a lot of South Park rewatch, just going back and watching random episodes from older seasons. I just recently watched the one where Chef died and then was remade into like the Iron Chef or whatever the hell it was.
Chef Vader.
Yeah. Um, let's see. I've also been well, you guys know most of my time goes into spreadsheets and arguing with people online about football. So that's a good chunk of my waking hours go to that. As far as stuff that I've consumed, we've also been continuing our Marvel Cinematic Universe rewatch with my mom, and we've gotten through all 3 of the Iron Man movies, the first 2 Thor movies, the first 2 Captain America movies, the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the first Avengers movie. I think that's it. I think that the next item on our list is Guardians of the Galaxy, and then starting season 2 of AOS. So that's going to be fun. Music wise, there have been a lot of good songs that have come out just over the last month or so, man. Like my playlist is I've got one bigger playlist that just kind of has songs that I have liked over the course of the last like 6 months or so that I've dug. And then I've got one much smaller playlist, like a third of the size, that's just music that like I know I won't skip when it comes on because it's that like it's just the kind of stuff that I know I'm into. And like as soon as I feel like I want to skip one, I put it in the other playlist, or I guess it's already probably in the other playlist, so I just remove it from that. But yeah, there's been a bunch of cool new music coming out. Oh, man, I'm trying to think of anything else that I might have done that I'm forgetting. To be fair, Cloverfield, and no, Cliff, I'm not gonna get specific about the music until I get to your question. Relax, Jesus Christ, someone's insecure. Someone is insecure.
And given that we're experts on the subject, we have every right to call him out. Cliff's insecure. Sorry.
So anyway, God, I was gonna. Oh, the first Cloverfield movie is like one of my favorite movies ever now. Like it's so fucking good. I absolutely love the first Cloverfield movie, and I'm glad that we watched it. And 10 Cloverfield Lane was good too, and the Cloverfield Paradox I enjoyed, even though it's not as critically received as the other 2. So yeah, I think that'll about cover it.
Can I ask something? Not to interject, but
no, go for it.
Music actually reminded me that I had music stuff. But should I save that for Cliff's question, or was that just specifically for you? That music question.
Well, let me look. It's specifically for me.
Okay, so yeah, I've kind of this month too. Breaking Benjamin came out with like 2 new songs, one of which I fell in love with.
Shit about your taste of music.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, I kind of re-fell in love with Breaking Benjamin this month, which has been really cool because you know the one new song they came out with called "Feed the Wolf" just really gets me pumped. It's part of my workout track. I need to get external speakers so I can really appreciate that to the fullest extent. But and Starset is another band that I've checked out more of their music this month, and they've definitely got a sound that I'm vibing with. They originally I got introduced to them thanks to NXT. Because their song Monster was a takeover song, and I fell in love with it instantly, but I've been tentative about listening to their other stuff. So the past 2 days, I've been listening to more of their songs, and they have a really good sound too. So yeah, that and according to music, which I never really talk about on here, that also happened to me this month. So I just thought I'd throw those 2 cents in, and sorry for interrupting, Ashton, but now you may continue.
All right. Well, up next, our second question from Rotten Butter is just for you, John. What is a philosophical idea that you would like to see explored more in fiction?
Yeah, you know, I saw that question and I really liked it. I that's always validating to me when you guys give a shit about this stuff because I never talk about it for fear of boring you guys. But I feel like all the really cool ones are already represented so well. You know, like the mind-body problem, like, you know, what is consciousness? You know, like the whole brain of that problem. Is this really reality, or is this just a perception of a higher reality, so to speak? You know, you think about movies like The Matrix and stuff like that. I think they play with the concept so well. Given that I'm more politically oriented, I mean, I'd say questions that tackle like stuff like justice, but I feel like we see a lot of that too. You just got to know where to look. Because he said film, right? Did he say film and books or just films?
He just said fiction.
Oh, he just said fiction. Well, yeah, I mean, fiction's a very broad category, and I feel like questions of justice, of good and evil, like James, I think is still in chat, or he should be. Dostoevsky does amazing literature on that subject. You know, theological questions can be a lot of fun to play with, but I see, you know, and I'm not talking about God's Not Dead. God, that's a fucking trash heap. You know, but I see films like Bergson's The Seventh Sin, I think it's called, or The Seventh Circle, that plays with like death very well. So yeah, I really don't feel like there's an unexplored philosophical concept or something worthy of contemplation that hasn't been touched upon by fiction. I guess, given that I'm doing a lot of work in disability, and I would even say Psychopaths inadvertently did great work on this, showing the flaws and the problematic issues with the medical model of disability that sees it purely as like this quantified thing, this disease to be overcome, rather than a social condition imposed upon certain bodies that don't conform to wellness or that don't really conform to capitalism or these kinds of arrangements. And I feel like Psychopaths in a way explored that really well. So yeah, I really don't think there's an idea at present, because I'm racking my brain and I'm like, yeah, I feel like a lot of the stuff really is touched upon very well. You just got to know where to look. But I really appreciate that question, though, for sure.
All right. Next question is just for me. And Rotten Butter's question for me is, you get your own sports ball team. What is their name, mascot, and team colors? And I have great news for you, Rotten Butter. I am overly prepared for this question, because I used to play different football simulation games where you got to make your own team. And over time, I developed a go-to for this exact combination. Are you ready for this, John?
Do it, brother. Do it.
My team would be based in Seattle.
Nice.
The name of the team would be the Emerald City Nightmares.
Oh, I like that.
Mascot would be a horse. That's like the mare part of Nightmares. It would be like an evil, dark, demonic horse. And
okay.
The team colors would be very, very dark, like Baltimore Raven color purple, with a light sort of Seattle Seahawks neon green.
Interesting.
So that's and that would be like the jerseys too, except it would have black for home games and white for away games as well. So yeah, that's kind of been my go-to for like sports simulation games online for probably over a decade now. So that's, there used to be a game called Quick Hit, and I had a team on there that I called the Emerald City Nightmares. And yeah, Seattle, believe it or not, Seattle actually is sometimes referred to as the Emerald City, because I think it's what the city of Oz in The Wizard of Oz was based on. So there you go.
Very interesting, man. I like that. All right.
Absolutely. Up next, our fourth and final question from Rotten Butter. This one's for both of us. If Johnny has 3 apples and Davey has 2 apples, why don't they just shut up and eat?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe because, you know, one of them's like, oh, why do you have more apples than me? And instead of just appreciating the goddamn apples they have, you know, maybe instead of complaining, they could do something else with that face and stuff it with those sweet, delicious apples. So I don't know. Humanity was a mistake. Humanity's awful, and that's why they don't shut up and eat. That's my answer to that question. What about you, Ashton? I'm sure you have a more mature and nuanced answer to this question, so have at it.
No, I really don't, because I'm pretty sure this is just a Courage the Cowardly Dog reference. I could be wrong on that, but my answer was basically going to be the same as yours, because they keep arguing about why one of them has more, and you can't really split an apple in half, because then you'd have to cut through the core and all that bullshit. So yeah, I basically had the same answer as you.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck you guys. Eat your goddamn apples. Next question.
Next, we've got 4 questions from Brandon Best. First one is just for you, John. What are your thoughts on the first episode of Spice and Wolf and the Ancient Magus Bride?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that we're at Brandon, because I'm going to pull out the other document, because he had a very like long-winded kind of question in a way, so I'm going to be prepared for that. I did not watch the first episode of Ancient Magus Bride. I did, however, watch the first episode of Spice and Wolf, you know, knowing that I got your question. And honestly, not bad. The voice acting was actually really good. I actually appreciated the voice acting from the male and female leads. I don't know if I'll watch more of it, and that's not because of disinterest, but because of just I'm swamped with like a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now, and I feel like every second kind of counts. So I don't really know if I'll be able to make time for it in the near future. But, you know, it's something that I definitely think I would revisit. And Ancient Magus Bride, I mean, just reading the synopsis, and maybe something that I go back and check out. I just didn't have time to really, you know, get to that. But yeah, Spice and Wolf was good. Again, the voice acting, which I think is important for any dub, because I've seen some cringy fucking dubs. Yeah, just really good. Really good.
All right. Second question from Brandon. If Hulk had faced a legit shooter like Lou Thez, and this is Hulk Hogan we're talking about,
right?
WrestleMania 5, would Hogan have still gone over knowing that Thez could legit beat him? And
let me take this first, because
okay.
I think I knew what Brandon was kind of getting at here, because at first, I'll be honest, I read this question, I'm like, well, fucking of course, Hulk Hogan doesn't give a shit. Like, it's politics. But I'm wondering if Brandon meant more in the sense of Thez just kind of giving Hulk the stink eye and saying, if you fuck me on this, I'm going to twist you like a pretzel. And even if that was the case, I'd still say absolutely, absolutely Hulk would go over, because Hulk does not give a shit. He cares about himself, he cares about fattening his pockets, and he believes his own hype. And nothing could have threatened Hulkamania. So, yeah, he still absolutely would have gone over.
Yeah, that's pretty much my answer, too. Because, like, whether by politics or size difference, Hogan was winning that match. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but your legit shooters, if they want to win a lot, they can do it in MMA. They're not going to necessarily be doing it in pro wrestling because it's a work. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, and I wasn't. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, it is a war thing, like by nature. And I wouldn't even say so much like, you know, the bookers decide, oh yeah, Hulk, you'll go over that. I'm just saying, like, politics rules the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm coming from with it.
And also, like, wasn't Lou Thez like 5'11", 5'10", maybe 6 feet at the most?
I can't answer that. I will.
Oh, okay. He's listed at 6'2", so that's bigger than I thought. But we still got to remember that this is a 6'2" guy in the ring with a 6'8", 300-pound Hulk Hogan. So, like, there are weight classes in shoot fighting for a reason, because, you know, shit like that shows up. And I can appreciate that Thez was a legit fighter and Hogan maybe wasn't, but I think Hogan knew at least enough to be able to handle himself against a guy who has that much of a size advantage against, if Thez would decide to start shooting on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, $2 super chat from Cliff. Now, if it was Haku, maybe that's a different story. Nah, I mean, Haku's a beast. I love hearing Haku stories. But yeah, like, again,
Haku's even smaller than Lou Thez. So yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't fuck with Haku, but I'm not Hulk Hogan, right? So
yeah, like Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Hulk Hogan, I feel like people don't realize how gigantic Hulk Hogan was, because his most iconic image is him standing across from Andre the fucking Giant.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. All right, third question from Brandon. In watching Hell of War and Jimmy Havoc's hardcore matches in progress, has your opinion of deathmatch wrestling changed at all?
I think you could go first on this one, because I did go first on the Hogan question.
Okay. My opinion on deathmatch wrestling hasn't changed one bit, because my entire point is I don't want to watch two guys torture each other for the sake of popping a crowd. If they're going to be doing that, there needs to be a well-built story and reason behind it in the first place. And even though I'm not a big fan of what Jimmy Havoc's been doing in the progress episodes that we've been watching so far, with like the bullshit, like, oh, I'm going to headbutt this light tube into your head, like that, I hated that. And you guys could hear it in my voice that I wasn't enjoying that while he was doing it. But Hell of War was the culmination of a season plus long story that, yeah, it had to go that far because of how personal it was. Like, the one guy abandoned the other guy in a foreign country, left him to die. Like, yeah, it makes all the sense in the world that they would go that far. So the reason that we ask for double when it comes to like live reacting to death matches on Patreon is because it's there. That's a rule that's there to prevent people from abusing it. Like, we don't want somebody to be like, here, react to this fucking, 1990 something Great Muta match where he spilled a record amount of blood. And it's like, well, we're just watching this because it's torture. So that's what the point of that is. It's to discourage people from asking us to watch like bullshit torture porn wrestling matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like now for me to step in and kind of give my answer, I'm pretty much right where Ashton is. Like, the Jimmy Havoc stuff I did enjoy, but here's the general rule for me. If it's part of a broader story and it's not hardcore for hardcore's sake, like Ashton said with Hell of War, I can absolutely get into it. And with Havoc, I did still feel like I was part of a broader story because he hasn't won a match in progress yet from what we've been documenting. And hopefully we can continue to document it in the future. And hardcore wrestling, like, that is his element, and you could see him kind of pander to the crowd, unironically, because he is that babyface, and he does enjoy it. But that's really like the big story going on with him. I don't really care for hardcore matches where it's like, oh, let me stick this syringe in your eyeball, right, and get a pop, because how does that service the greater narrative? Like Hell of War, why I called it art was it wasn't just hardcore. Like, all the moves had a purpose, especially towards the end when Dante was looking like he was going to kill Killshot, and he had to, defend himself. Like, I think distinctions have to be made. So there's a lot of hardcore wrestling that I honestly think is just trash. Hell, one of my favorite hardcore matches of all time is Cactus Jack versus Randy Orton from Backlash 04, right? But even that had a great story because for 7 weeks, Orton was like calling Foley out. And this was after he spit in his face, by the way, saying, oh, Foley's my bitch. Foley's a coward, this and that. And he pushed him too far, right? And it seemed like a very organic narrative, especially after Orton pinned him at Mania, that he had to go deeper. He had to be Cactus Jack. And I thought it was a brilliant hardcore match. But that's because it had such a solid and substantive narrative backing it. But just two guys going in and being like, oh, we're going to massacre each other just for the sake of a pop does nothing for me, and I honestly find it grotesque. So, no, I don't think my opinion's changed either.
All right, man. Well, you have the document. I don't. Next question from Brandon is, what are your thoughts on my WrestleMania card? Refer to the separate document. So I'm curious.
Okay. Yeah, I did that because there was no way I was going to be able to record it and keep the sheet nice and neat. Yeah, so it's us reacting to a WrestleMania card that he put together. And this is what Brandon has for his WrestleMania card. For the pre-show, he's got Scott Steiner versus Mexico North. That's Bobby Roode, Eric Young, and Jinder Mahal.
So Steiner's losing that, right?
I'm guessing so, but does Steiner ever really lose?
And by the way, I thought that this was going to be a WrestleMania 34 card. I didn't realize that it was like a fantasy card.
No, it's a fantasy card. Brock Lesnar.
Why the hell is Scott Steiner on the pre-show? Hello.
Yeah. Also on the I guess no, this would be the main. Actually, no, I think this is also part of the pre-show. Brock Lesnar versus Conor McGregor.
Brock would destroy him.
He has Kane Hill performing, which makes sense. Match 1. Marty Scurll versus John Cena. This is John Cena's last match. He also said, don't take this card seriously, for the record.
Oh, I'm really glad you added that.
Yeah. Usos versus Revival. Tornado Iron Man tag for the SmackDown tag titles.
Woohoo! There's a barn burner. Hello.
Will Ospreay versus Pete Dunne for the UK Championship.
Very nice.
Match 4. Santana Garrett versus heel Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title.
Oh.
And he said, you're welcome, Ashton. So that kind of moan there was appropriate.
Thank you, Brandon.
Match 5, Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns, heel Roman, by the way, versus the New Day.
Ooh, that's different.
Match 6, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Finn is the heel for the Universal title.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, that's his card. I'd say the pre-show's kind of a mess. 8 matches. Yeah, I'd say the pre-show's kind of a mess, and I'm questioning a little bit Scurll versus Cena. I'd be more curious about the what was I going to say about that? Just the story behind Scurll versus Cena.
I mean, if you're gonna do Skrull versus a top guy in WWE, do Skrull versus Styles.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so good. Yes. And yeah, so I actually really like this card. This is better than I honestly thought it would be, with all due respect to Brandon. I didn't know how it was going to go. So good job,
I mean,
dude.
those first two matches don't really set you up to believe it's going to be good.
Yeah, they didn't really inspire much comment, but man, did you bounce back, brother? I got to give you credit. So was that Brandon's fourth and final question?
Yes, it was. Up next, we've got 4 questions from Iconic Player 1. First question, what do you prefer in your wrestling theme songs, vocals or instrumental only?
I definitely feel like I'm more of an instrumental guy. So I'm going to say instrumental.
Yeah, you know, the more I think about it, I definitely think I'm on the same side as you. I think most of the theme songs that I love are either instrumental only or mostly instrumental. Like, the song that comes to mind is like Andrade's song. Like that could be just instrumental and I'd love it. But the little like El Ídolo and La Sombra, like little like shouting in there helps. But it could definitely get away with just being instrumental because it's that damn good of a song. So yeah, I think instrumental is the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess next question.
Let's see. Second question from Iconic Player 1. What are some of your favorite Goldust moments? And you can go in the ring or non-in-ring segments.
You know what? I'll say favorite Goldust moments. His match with Randy Orton trying to get Cody's job back was great.
Yep.
The
tag match, the two of them against the Shield.
Yeah, that was great. Some segments he had with Stardust very early on, I enjoyed. And I really got to be emphatic about that because it grew old very quickly, but very early on.
Is it bad that I missed stuttering Goldust? As insensitive and horrible as that was, I laughed my ass off at it.
Dude, here's the thing. I was young. I really didn't have the kind of disability consciousness I do now. Like, I laughed my ass off, too. I was even thinking the other day about the promo he had with Triple H. WrestleMania! You know, and just like... Jesus Christ. And anything he did with Booker T in the lead up to them becoming a tag team, I actually love that story, and I love them winning the tag titles. I thought that was a really great story. And
I got one more for you.
Beg pardon?
I got one more for you.
What's that?
I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am.
Yes.
Shut up!
I have something I want to share with you all. If you could all just shut up for a minute. And then with Booker T,
we need more segments like that in today's WWE.
Yes.
It's Goldust coming out as the freaking gimp.
And I love too when I'm thinking about him and Booker T before they became a tag team. They're the 7-Eleven segment. I'll let you have a sip of my Slurpee if you let me take a bite of your wiener.
Oh man.
Oh, Goldust.
Yeah, he's entertaining. He's not a good guy. He's not a good human being, but he's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, third question from Iconic Player 1. Dream matches for Edge if he was still wrestling. Immediately, I already mentioned the name. I'm going to go to it. Edge versus Styles.
Edge versus Rollins, definitely. I think those. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, hell, we might not, talk a lot of positive about him, but Edge versus Roman would be good. Edge versus, I mean, what was the name that you just mentioned?
Rollins.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, hell, Edge. Let's just finish off the Shield. Edge versus Ambrose would be good, I'm sure. Let's see. Edge versus Adam Cole.
Yes, dude. I want Rated R Edge and Adam Cole to be a tag team. That'd be great.
Rated R, baby.
Yes.
Edge versus Omos.
Yes. Edge versus Nakamura.
Oh.
Fucking intercepting a spear with a Kinshasa. Like, I'm already visualizing the spot. Honestly, after the promo he cut on Cena, trying to get his head right, I feel like Edge could have cut some fiery babyface promos against a heel. I'm only in it for the money, Brock Lesnar. That would have been interesting.
Oh, that would have been so good.
Because really, the best part about that whole match with Cena, besides like Lesnar's early offense, because he had just come back and we were all still really into him, was Edge's promo to motivate Cena, just saying he doesn't give a damn about this. You and I had to carry the load, and like I loved it. Would have loved for, well, now this is kind of taking liberties because this is also somebody that doesn't work anymore. But I know Edge did say that if he really wanted to go out on his own terms, yeah, well, Brian would have been good. Christian, I know he wanted to have a program with Christian, which I felt like it would have been better than the one that they had when they first split up, because they were both, you know, much more complete, or not as complete performers then, but they are now, or, you know, they were at least. Yeah, man, I just think about like Edge coming back and being healthy. Like, so many great matches are waiting for him. Finn Balor would have been another great one.
If he were to come back, I would want him to make a trip to New Japan first, because I want Edge versus Okada.
Oh, dude, that'd be great. And you know what? One more, because I want to give this guy his due, and I feel like they could do great stuff together, because Edge does have like that charisma as a babyface, and he could be comedic. Edge, I think, could definitely get a guy like Elias to that main event level. Like,
yeah.
I could just see him interrupting an Elias concert, you know, with a kazoo or something, or just being ridiculous. And yeah, I could see them having like legitimately good matches. So dude, Elias would be
I got one more for you. Edge versus Braun.
Oh, dude, yes. Yes.
God. I mean, it's a lot easier to come up with good babyface opponents because of how good he was as rated R heel Edge, but God, scrappy babyface Edge worked too, damn it.
Dude, I was a huge fan of scrappy babyface Edge in like 01, 02 when I first got into wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought he was close back then to the WWE Championship, and obviously he didn't win it till many years later. But yeah, like, I definitely was into all the stuff that he did, for sure.
I remember there were like a couple weeks where Edge's gimmick was that he pointed out dumb shit on Raw.
Yes, that was great.
Yeah, like, but like, imagine that Edge taking on like Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Listen, Dolph, do you really think that you're going to connect with this crowd by just talking about why they're wrong?
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm glad we got this question, but I don't really think there's any more matches that I could give. So next question.
Oh, that's a good one. Edge versus Smojo.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, it's a great pick.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Our fourth and final question from Iconic Player 1 isn't our question. It's your question. It's just for you, John.
Ooh.
You have to choose between Adam Cole, Seth Rollins, and Johnny Mundo.
Okay.
And there is a specific instruction that you're not allowed to bitch out and run to James for comfort on this.
Oh, I know this question, but you just got to remind me of the final bit, because is it retire, kill, whatever? Like, what is it again?
Destroy career.
So it's retire, kill, destroy career.
Yep.
I'm going to destroy Seth Rollins' career. I'm going to retire Johnny Mundo, and I'm going to kill Adam Cole.
Well, there was no easy way out of that, so I'm glad you ripped the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, because here's the thing. If I have to suffer, so do all of you, and I can't imagine anything more painful to everyone than depriving the world of Adam Cole, thus cementing my place as the top heel in human history. So, fuck you, Iconic.
And I noticed, too, that Johnny Mundo is the only one that walks away from the business unscathed.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, we've got 4 questions from Ace the Skylord. All 4 of them are for both. Never mind, 3 of them are for both of us. One of them's for you. First 3 are for both of us, though. The first one is, if Adam Cole having a match against Aleister Black, almost losing a thumb, and then competing in the Royal Rumble 24 hours later won't convince the world of Adam Cole's greatness, what will?
I'm going to let you handle this one, because I love how you speak about Adam Cole. I feel like you're a much better disciple than myself of the cult of Cole. So what do you think?
The cult?
Yes. I'm going to let you have this one, brother, before I go.
The Adam Cult, baby.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if the world doesn't already know of Adam Cole's greatness, that's their own damn problem. I don't give a shit if other people are that blind to acknowledge the truth that is Adam Cole and his greatness. So if you even needed convincing prior to that series of events happening, you are a part of the problem.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I always kind of roll my eyes, and deservedly so, when religious nuts are like, "Oh, this tragedy or this phenomenon's happening because we don't have prayer in schools and this." And I'm like, "Oh, that's a bunch of hogwash." But sometimes I wonder: does the world not recognizing Adam Cole as its global deity the reason why we have global warming? I mean, I think it's a worthy question, to kind of just put out.
I mean, they all worship false prophets. The one true God is Adam Cole.
Exactly. So, I mean, you want to talk about Judgment Day and your Armageddon. I feel like that's all at the discretion of Adam Cole, baby. So, yeah, I feel like, but to answer your question sincerely, Ace, I really, and here's the thing, I am going to sound like a smug prick.
But, I mean, Vince McMahon is an old, out of touch piece of shit, but even he is woke to the greatness that is Adam Cole.
And that's what I was going to say, right? It doesn't matter what the world thinks, because the world is just a bunch of peons. Vince, the guy who writes the checks and, really oversees, like, who's going to be my guy. Ashton told me that he wanted to meet with Adam Cole and, like, is really excited about him. So when Adam Cole becomes WWE and, hell, possibly even Universal champion, then the whole world's going to recognize. And if they don't, well, I mean, like Ashton, I don't think you said this in a recording. You said this more when it was just you, me, and your mom together. You're just wrong. It's okay that you're wrong, but you're going to be alone with your ignorance and you're going to die with it. And that's probably what you deserve, because you're a horrible human being. So,
I mean, you definitely expounded upon my quote, but you definitely got the general gist of it down pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. So, yeah, that's all I can really say about that. Do you have anything you want to add?
Up next, our second question from Ace the Skylord. Do you think that Vince is going to end up neglecting the WWE in favor of the XFL like he did before, given that he's older now and the XFL will be run under a different company than WWE?
What do you think about this, Ashton? I was far more curious about your take when I recorded this question originally.
I mean, probably. If he did it before, he's older now and he's probably even more stuck in his ways than ever, so I don't know why he wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, because I feel like on one hand, if Triple H is like slowly getting more control, Vince is going to want a passion project to call his own, and I feel like that's really what this is. So I'm inclined to agree with you. I do think WWE will start being neglected on his side, but it'll ultimately probably be to our benefit, right? Because then, like, other people will be able to, have the reins, no pun intended there, and be able to do what they want with it. So I'm actually going to say, yeah, I could see Vince being neglectful if this whole thing goes through. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. Third question from Ace the Skylord. If Scott Steiner was to return as a surprise entrant in a future Royal Rumble, will TWitWoW explode with all the Steinerism?
I know I definitely will. Will you be joining me on that, dude? Or where are you at?
Honestly, I don't think I'd be able to, because I would A, go into shock, and B, when I recovered, be doing nothing but keeping my ears peeled for the next great Steiner quote.
I know, like, even the trash talk in the ring. Go suck this dick or what? Suplex. Yeah, it would be absolutely crazy. I mean, he's still doing stuff with Impact. Who knows? If anybody, I know he has a hatred for, like, Triple H and the McMahons, but Triple H, man, has brought people back in the fold. Like, people are still reeling that Jeff Jarrett's getting freaking inducted, right? So, like, I don't know. Anything can happen, man. Anything. And I guess if Steiner did show up at the Rumble, by the time he recovered from the shock, though, actually, to be fair, Steiner probably would have been eliminated, because I don't really see him lasting long. But I think he would definitely make it.
You act as if the shock would even last long enough for me to not see his entrance. Like, his entrance would be like 3 minutes long.
Yeah, that is true, because he'd be busy appreciating those peaks and admiring the freaks. So,
look at that vein.
Yeah, look at that vein. I love that, man, so much. Next question.
Fourth and final question from Ace the Skylord is for you and you alone, John. Given how Kyrie is in general, is it safe to say she's figured out the secret to happiness in life?
If I'm not mistaken, this might have been a question that he wanted me to answer sincerely as me and not Johnny Scumbag, because it does say just John, right?
Yes.
Okay, because normally I distinguish with like J Good or J Scum. And answering sincerely, I don't know about that, because that kind of gets into that hyperbolic territory. But, like, and this is me being sincere, I think Kyrie is genuinely a very good-natured person. who just comes across as so loving and so warm. And that's why I don't want the business to leave her cynical or jaded. I want wrestling, and really I say the business. I feel like wrestling on the whole has been kind of, I'm worried about the WWE machine. So I really should qualify my statement. I'm hoping the machine is kind to her, because I even see tweets where, like she visits her best friend's grave and she's like, oh, I'm keeping my promise to you. I'm living my dream. I'm doing what you would expect from me, being happy, doing everything. And it hits you so fucking hard. Like, I know I do the Johnny Goodfellow stuff and this and that, but to see somebody in this business, not only as good as she is, but so genuine, maybe that is the secret, to just do what you love. And see, it's so easy to say it though, right? And that's really one of the reasons why I hate our society. And Ashton can attest to this, because I tell it to him all the time. I'm a guy, call it idealistic, call it naive. I'd call myself that before anybody else. But my ideal society is one where people could really pursue their passions and what they find fulfilling, because life's too fucking short to do otherwise. The idea that, we slave away for people that we don't even give a shit about, for things that we don't give a shit about, to me is a crock. And so seeing Kairi so happy and seeing her so fulfilled, doing what she loves and doing what she's so goddamn good at the same time, maybe that is, in a weird way, the secret to happiness, so to speak. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. This again is just coming as me, as John, not Johnny Goodfellow or any of that stuff. And yeah, that's really where I am with it.
All right. Up next, we've got 4 questions from Dominique Adams. First one is for both of us. If you could place Lou Thez in any area of professional wrestling, where do you believe he would thrive the most in?
Honestly, God, it's a shame that territories aren't a thing anymore.
Ring of Honor, easy answer.
Wait, what was that?
Ring of Honor, easy answer.
Yeah, I guess Ring of Honor. I was going to say that, or honestly New Japan, because I could see him being the type of guy, Jin, that would get over with his style, working with guys.
Or, I mean, honestly, he could just go to UFC, since he was that legit shooter.
Yeah, I'd say UFC as number 1. I definitely agree with you, Ring of Honor number 2. And I'd even say New Japan, because I feel like him having matches with like Suzuki and stuff would get over with the crowd. So
yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, that's pretty much my exact list. So I'm glad we got through that question as painlessly as we did. Next question was also for both of us. For G1 this year, do you have Okada winning and becoming the 3rd ever reigning IWGP champion to win the G1 Climax, along with Sasuke and Muto?
I'll let you go first on this.
Hell to the no, because he's going to drop the title before he wins G1 to Naito.
Here's how I'm going to answer this question. I'm pretty much going to copy paste what Ashton said, because when Ashton laid out his booking, like it's too reasonable, and New Japan is a reasonable company for the most part, that I would agree with it. But, and I'm going to put this caveat, Okada's reign has been so epic, both in proportions and just in the gravity of what he's achieved. He's like his own black hole, sucking up all the achievements. So you might as well give him that one too. So do I think it's going to happen? No. But would it surprise me if it happened? No, absolutely not.
Well, I'll say this. I would say that if it doesn't happen this year, I feel relatively confident saying that he will be the 3rd one to do that, just not this year.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to answer the question, Ashton, because yeah, with all the other history that Okada's taken for himself, if he wouldn't take that history too, I'd actually be surprised by New Japan being so restrained, because they've given Okada everything else. So yeah, I'll agree with you with no, but would it surprise me? No. And could I see it happening in the future like you? Yes, absolutely. So next question.
3rd question is for you, John, and it does not specify whether it's Johnny Scumbag or Johnny Goodfellow, so I'm guessing it's just for you. If you had no choice, would you one day drop a fail bomb on Kairi Sane or abandon your love for Johnny Mundo?
Well, one fail bomb is one fail bomb, whereas abandonment is like a much more intense commitment. So I'd say weighing it like that, you can always bounce back from a fail bomb. So I'd say dropping the fail bomb on Kairi, because abandoning the love for Johnny after like...
Honestly, I feel like you were about ready to drop the fail bomb on Kairi if she would have like gotten pinned in the triple threat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely still having this internal struggle with myself. This goodness is fucking sickening. But you know, I definitely think that would be easier to do than to just be like, no, I'll never love another Johnny Mundo match. Like, I'll never love him, the performer. Like, nah, there's no way I'd be capable. Like, even speaking sincerely and rationally, like, I feel like that's a much bigger commitment than doing one fail bomb on one person one time that she could easily bounce back from. So yeah, the fail bomb for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Fourth and final question from Dominique Adams. Would you rather endure a 30-minute Natalia promo or a 5-minute submission torture from Suzuki?
Since this was for both, I want to hear your answer to this first, because actually this is more struggling for me than the Kyrie Mundo question.
How is this even a struggle? Of course, like, to me, the thing that would have made this a challenge is if you would have swapped the times. Like, if it would have been a 5-minute Natalia promo versus a 30-minute submission torture from Suzuki, that makes it a really difficult decision for me. But a 30-minute Natalia promo, a mere 300 seconds being tortured by Suzuki and having that story to tell for the rest of your life? Hell yeah, give me Suzuki.
But I mean, I guess the struggle is with how adept he is and with his understanding of the human anatomy, he can do a lot of damage in 5 minutes. Like, your quality of life could be really high beforehand and be really low after the fact.
Yeah, but how much physical damage is worth the amount of mental and emotional damage done by 30 minutes of Natalia talking?
I don't know. Like, the math kind of fucks with me a little bit, if I'm honest. You know what? I'd have to go the Natalia promo. Because, even though I would be idealizing suicide the entire time, like, death isn't so bad. I would at least be able to walk out with my health intact. Whereas with Suzuki, even though it's 5 minutes, with somebody of his expertise and his acumen, I am petrified at the damage he could do in those 5 minutes and what my quality of life would be like after the fact. So yeah, I'd go the Natalia promo.
Wow.
Don't you wow me.
Oh, I just did, dude.
I just look at you doubling down. God damn it. Next
up, we've got, I believe, four questions from Super Blue, and this time they actually are all for both of us. First up, how do you feel about Cody Rhodes after he got called out and then proceeded to call out OTRS Central?
I don't really care for either entity, so I just thought the whole thing was kind of hilarious. But I will say that Cody, like, kind of clapping back was really funny, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I don't think it did anything for, like, respect or anything. I still feel the same way I do about him. I wish actually
I'm sure Jeff appreciated that, because, like, the number one rule of that they teach you in hip hop is don't beef down. Like, Cody is picking a fight with some random dude with a few thousand subs on YouTube. Do you know how bad that makes Cody look?
Yeah, it's like, is this really the hill you want to die on?
Apparently it freaking is.
So yeah, it's
dude, whatever. Cody has the most fragile ego. Like, this is a dude that straight up will search his own name on Twitter and find people talking about him and respond to them. That's how fragile this dude's ego is.
Are you all loving me yet? No. But yeah, so I really didn't give a shit one way or the other, because I really don't care for either, like, person involved. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it, like, from that vantage point, but that's pretty much it. And actually, I feel like you just kind of answered the question yourself. So unless there's anything you want to add, we can move on.
Yeah, I'm sure Jeff appreciated the extra attention that he got from Cody and all of his fanboys. So yeah, there's that. Second question from Super Blue. If Oprah ran for president in 2020, would it be better or worse than it is now?
It would still be the same fucking shithole. And that's really all I'm going to say about it, because I really...
and I would argue that it would be worse, not because her policies are worse than Trump's, but because that would start a trend of, oh, celebrities are just going to be presidents from now on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sooner or later, The Rock's going to be sitting in that Oval Office.
Motherfucker.
But yeah, I really don't have a political rant.
He probably makes more money in Hollywood than he would in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a political rant in me this month. So I'm just going to say, yeah, I do agree with you, though, Ashton. I think it would normalize and desensitize people to what a political class like looks like, which has its positives on one hand, but like, of course you go rather than to somebody. And again, I had my criticisms of him as well, but of course, like instead of using that desensitization to support somebody like a Bernie, you go to the extreme wealthy and the people that are so out of touch to the celebrity class. Like, Jesus Christ, America. No, I said no rants. That's all I'm going to say about it. I think it'd be worse. She's just as fucking awful as the next person. We need to get our shit together. If there's anything you want to add, we can move on.
Oprah seems like the type of president that would try and outlaw atheism to me.
I don't know about that. Would it surprise me? No, but I can't really say I've gotten that vibe. But I mean, yeah, but that's just the idea, right? Like just the idea that you think it and just the idea that it's possible. Which, I mean, hell, I could very easily say the same about Trump because the guy just seems like a curry to you know, whatever at any given moment. Yeah, it's just like, no, celebrities are not fucking politicians. Like, I don't even really want to have this discussion again because I feel like we had a similar conversation last month. But yeah,
like, we've been having this conversation more often than I'm comfortable with over the last couple months.
Dude, I'm right there with you. Like, I'm done with this shit. So, like, yeah,
people just love hearing us talk politics, apparently.
I don't know why though. Why do you do this to us? Because it's like, no, it's and this is me being serious. Like, it's Oprah. She's one fucking person, but I think she's and really, I'll say this again because I said this last month. This is a person like her behind healthcare would kind of horrify me because she legitimized the views of Dr. fucking Oz, giving him a platform.
She also legitimized anti-vaxxers by giving Jenny McCarthy a platform.
Thank you. And I gotta be honest, and this is definitely me being an asshole, and I'll own that. But like, I was even seeing a video today where Oprah was on Ellen, and she met with this one person. I don't know if it was just a fan or maybe the woman was like famous or had done something in her own right, and she was crying and like so moved by Oprah, and I'm like, it's fucking Oprah. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
dude, like, I'm starting to really just notice. And it's not really ever something that I thought about before, but over the the last few, I would say, months, I'm really starting to have my eyes opened to when somebody is smart because they're a thought leader and when somebody is just a cult of personality and they just have these rabid followers who will go to the ends of the earth to, you know, let them know how much they love them and they believe their every word and they're flawless and that kind of shit.
Yeah. And yeah, like, to me, what substance would she bring? Like, to me, and I was even kind of talking about this to Aja. Now it's kind of a disparate thing, but I hope to bring it back to make my larger point. Like, and obviously I'm the philosopher, so I'm going to take it from that perspective. To me, statescraft, or if you prefer the art of politicking, is just that. It's a kind of art that not everybody can do. And like, it involves policy and experimentation and improving social conditions. And I don't think Oprah is Oprah is famous. Like that's her thing. And she's used that platform. Now, I will say this. If
used and abused, brother.
Used and abused. Exactly. Because if she had used her platform for more worthwhile causes than legitimizing fucking Jenny McCarthy and fucking Dr. Oz, then maybe I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I'm just being too much of a hard ass. But no, like, if you've done that, God knows the opinions you could be influenced by. And I gotta say this too.
And hell, Fox News and Breitbart and Alex Jones are like the primary influencers of Trump. So there you go.
I was even gonna say now I want to be careful here because one thing that I don't like is some of like the ableist discourse, like, oh, you know, mental this and that. You know, that's another subject for another time. But like when people say, oh, Trump's so easily influenced, what makes you think Oprah would be any different? What, because she's on your side? That you think she'd be more insulated from like the ill? Like, again, Jenny McCarthy, Dr. She has her own bad influences. If for Trump it's Fox News and Breitbart, Oprah has her own. Stop thinking these fucking people are infallible. Stop deifying them, for fuck's sake.
Telling you, it's that cult of personality thing, man. That's what it is. And the Rock is going to be the same way if he ever runs.
And dude, I'm telling you, like, I know I've been seeing images lately that, oh, when you say you don't care about politics, it's because you're, and I can understand that point, but like, they are really beating the care that I have for this shit fucking out of me. Because if these are the options you really want to go with, what's the point of discourse? Like, what's the point in even saying this shit when it's like, but my Oprah, my queen, and it's like, God, no, for fuck's sake. Oh, Jesus. It's, you know, like the people that give me hope, honestly, are the fucking people in Parkland that are mobilizing and doing political action because they're stakeholders and their future's fucking affected. I wish more people would do that shit rather than looking to Oprah or Trump as like this salvation figure. Like you said, this cult of personality, like, oh, save us. Bring us. No, be your own goddamn salvation. Get your hands in the dirt and do something. Like, I don't know. I really don't want to do this again. Let's just move on to our next question.
All right. Up next, our, I believe, third question from Super Blue. This was kind of a convoluted question. It seems like a really easy decision to me. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong. I know you still have the document, John. So if you want to open it and tell me if I'm reading this wrong or something, I don't know. Super Blue's third question is basically, which would be worse? Roman Reigns winning at WrestleMania 34, meaning we're assuming that means him beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34 and holding the championship for a year, or Kushida coming to WWE, winning the Royal Rumble, and beating Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns in 5 seconds and having a 1-year title reign himself?
What would be worse?
I mean, Kushida, right? I mean,
yeah, Kushida, definitely. Yeah. Because Roman, I'm already kind of like, you know, I don't have a problem with his in-ring work. It's everything else that I hate. Whereas Kushida, like, I can't even get into his matches, so it would annoy the fuck out of me every time. So, yeah, Kushida.
Yeah. So, fourth and final question from Super Blue. Who would win this battle and why? 1 billion lions or all 807 Pokemon?
807 Pokemon to me. That actually seems very straightforward. Am I wrong on this?
You really only need one Pokemon to win, and that's Arceus, because he's literally God. He controls reality.
Yeah, and then, like, my thing is, too, even if you didn't have Pokemon, like, that powerful, what is a lion really going to do besides, like, I don't know, maybe, like, you know, scratch with its paws or definitely, like, bite, obviously, with its teeth. But,
see,
like,
now, I will disagree with you there, because to me, like, if I had to choose between the 806 Pokemon other than Arceus, and then I guess you would also have to, like, disinclude, like, Dialga and Palkia, too, because they control space and time, for Christ's sake. So, like, if we're removing, like, the reality-altering type Pokemon that are, like, too powerful to exist, basically, and we're just doing, like, the 780 or 790 or so that are left after that versus the billion lions, I would go with the lions. Because do you realize how many lions a billion lions is?
I mean, it is a fuck ton, for sure, but I don't know, man. Like, you don't feel like Pikachu could electrocute, like, large swaths of them at a time, or that rock types would be too strong for, you know, their offense to really do any damage, and it would just take, like, a swipe, and it would just knock them down.
I mean,
like,
the thing is, like, with a billion lions, you would think a few hundred of them would figure out to dip the rock types in water, and that would kill them.
I mean, you'd think they'd figure it out, but, I mean... And then I feel like about the poison Pokemon, like, if you just, like, you know, make the air toxic, like, you know, that would probably knock them out pretty quickly.
I mean, yeah, like, and if you just go by literal Pokedex entry definitions, like, there are Pokemon that weigh that not well, there are Pokemon that weigh a lot, but that's not what I'm getting at. There are Pokemon that are, like, hotter than the sun. So, like, have fun even touching one of them, Lion.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, if you got Jigglypuff, a loud enough sound system, that Pokemon could, like, knock them all out, you know? So, like, yeah, I'm still going with the Pokemon for sure at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, up next, we've got 4 questions from I believe, new question asker, Thomas Buckner.
Ooh.
I believe this was a YouTube question asker. So the first question is, who do you think will be the champions at the end of 2018 in WWE?
At the end of 2018,
yeah, we going early, son.
Roman Reigns on the Raw side.
Of course.
And
that's just the easy bet. Even if you don't genuinely believe that, if you want to just play the odds, you say Roman Reigns, and your odds of being right are better than they are of being wrong.
And I'm going to say either Nakamura or Seth Rollins on the SmackDown side.
Ooh, Seth on SmackDown. I can get into that.
I only say that because I am buying into the rumors that Seth's going to face Angle at Mania, and you're not going to want to be on a brand where the authority figure openly has it out for you. So he'll probably jump ship and go to SmackDown. I'd say before the end of the year, he will be their champion.
All right. So given that by the end of the year, we're talking about December 31st, which is still football season, so they're going to be phoning it in. I'm going to say Roman Reigns on Raw too, because like I said, and like you said, and like we all agree, that's just the easy bet at this point. But I don't think it'll be the same reign that he starts at WrestleMania. I think he'll lose it to Braun or something like that and then get it back by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And on Raw, you know, a little bit of a kind of a swerve. I'm going to say John Cena is the SmackDown champion.
Oh, I like that though, because Reign 17's got to be coming, so I can definitely appreciate that for sure.
I also heard a rumor that Nakamura, Triple H, and John Cena were all going to hold the WWE title on SmackDown by the end of 2018. So,
damn. All right, well, we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, those are my answers. You gave your answers. I guess we can move on.
All right, next up, we've got a second question from Thomas Buckner. What 5 WWE feuds do you want to see in 2018? Ooh, this is fun. Do you want to do like the alternating thing where you say one and then I do one and we just go back until we each have 5?
You know what? I think I'd rather just do my 5 straight away because my head will spin if we go back and forth with this.
Okay.
Seth Styles, so Rollins, AJ Styles. I'm gonna say Bauer Rollins because they've kind of teased it, but I don't think they've had a full-blown program. I would love that.
I love that your love for Seth has been totally reinvigorated because of his performance on Raw.
Third one's gonna be Seth too. Seth and heel Dean Ambrose.
Yep.
I'll say heel Dean Ambrose and Finn as well because I just want to see heel Dean do everything because I feel like that's gonna really.
So we have 4 feuds so far that involve, I believe, 3 different people.
And let me think.
Or I guess it would be, wait, what was the first one? Seth and AJ. So that's 4 different people. Okay. So 4 between 2 people each that only involve 4 different people. Got it. Okay.
And you know what? I'll say Braun and Roman reigniting their feud for the Universal title with Braun going over. So that's what I would love to see in 2018.
All right. All right. Heel Sasha versus face Bailey on the main roster is one for me.
Nice.
I'm going to say, man. Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to actually sign on to one of yours, heel Dean Ambrose versus face Seth Rollins. I need that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Let's say Elias as a face.
Ooh.
Versus Miz.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I think there's a lot that you can get out of that. And then for my 5th and final choice, Rusev versus Nakamura.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I just pinched a tent. Something fierce here, people. God damn.
All right. Third question from Thomas Buckner. What are some of your favorite, or what are some of your guys' favorite TV show characters?
Oh,
this is tough. Randy Marsh.
Yeah. Why are the food channels blocked? How do you know that I blocked them? I know because I don't know, Sharon. Go. Yeah, Randy for life. Don Draper from Mad Men for me. Gregory House, played by Hugh Laurie from House.
Phil Coulson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Great one. BoJack from BoJack Horseman. Love that show. Favorite television characters, huh?
Christian Slater's character, basically Mr. Robot from the show Mr. Robot.
Yeah. I'll say Rust Cole from True Detective because that's definitely middle-aged me when my life falls apart.
Riggedy rig, baby.
Wait, yeah, Rick. Hold on one second, because there's a guy whose name I'm struggling with it, but I know, like, I really identified with this character when I was watching this show. I just need to pull up the name real quick. I apologize, guys.
In the meantime, I'm thinking of other names as well, just so you guys are aware.
Oh yeah, Hank Moody from Californication. That's a big one for me. Big one.
I know you love Californication.
Yeah, that show was so fucking good.
Does Jim Jeffries count from Legit? I mean,
might as well, right? It's a TV show.
Yeah.
Until his life fell apart, I would have said Louis C.K. from Louis because there was a lot I identify with Louis with, and then that shit happened.
I mean, he didn't really fall apart. He just kind of,
no, and then we really haven't heard from him, so I have no idea what's even happening. But yeah,
I mean, I was just going more for like his house of cards that he had built up fell down. Which, speaking of house of cards, same thing happened to Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, which honestly, Kevin's Frank Underwood, but before all that shit happened, and you know what? It's still a great character if you can separate the art from the artist. Frank Underwood. Yeah, I loved his speech right before it all went to shit. Welcome to the death of the age of reason. Like, what a great fucking character.
Alex Foster had a great one. Rafi from the League.
Yeah. Hey, tall guy. Scroat Squad. Cheaty from The Good Place. God, yes, definitely Cheaty from The Good Place. That's like my muse right there. Yeah, let me think. Anything else? This is actually a really fun question to think about.
Yeah. Mostly just because it gets us thinking about all our favorite TV shows and who our favorite character is from those shows.
Right.
Sometimes when I come, I fart.
Yeah. God damn. You already said Rick from Rick and Morty. I don't even say Morty. Like, I really do appreciate him sometimes there, so I'll say that in that same vein. Favorite characters from TV shows. I would say I haven't watched Suits in forever. I think they're getting ready for their final season because freaking Meghan Markle's getting married to Prince fucking Harry. But I would say Mike from Suits. He's great. My family makes fun of him all the time.
Do we want to talk about Netflix shows? I mean, you already mentioned BoJack Horseman, right? So.
Oh, dude, if we're talking Netflix shows, B. Smith from fucking Wentworth. Bad fucking ass. Anybody that's an Orange is the New Black fan, you're doing it wrong because you need to get on that Wentworth level, son. Like, Jesus Christ.
So I mean, I was literally just going to say Jessica Jones because of that whole universe, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, Jessica Jones is another great one. Yeah, like
no, I was even going to say not even Jessica Jones, but specifically Kilgrave from that series.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Frank Castle.
Yeah, Frank from Punishers, definitely. You know what? Luke Cage is cool. I like Luke. I love just how annoyed he is when he fights. You know what? I've been meaning to watch End of the Fucking World, Asia. I'm glad you actually put a name out there because that inspires me even more to go and watch the series on my own time. Merle from the show Merle. It's more of like a Spanish show. I think they film in Catalonia, but that's a Netflix show.
Oh, Penny from The Magicians.
Oh, that's a great one. Love that one. That's a great pick. Can't wait to.
I love that show, and Penny is my favorite character on it.
Erlich Bachman from Silicon Valley.
What? Bachman is your favorite character on Silicon Valley? Come on, man.
I really do like him and Jared as a tandem because
Jared is amazing, but Guilfoyle is the GOAT.
Yeah, I even told Brandon to check out Silicon Valley because Guilfoyle's a Satanist. I thought he'd really appreciate the character.
I mean, come on. Anybody that can get hooked up with Milana Vaintrub, even if it is just a character she happens to be playing, is a winner in my book.
Yeah, there you go. Television show. Yeah, honestly, I feel like I exhausted the list on my end because I'm sure there are more names, but just none that I can think of at present. I feel like we gave a very impressive list. So unless you want to just name a few more for your end, I'm good.
I want to name one more.
Okay.
I just want to remember her character name. I think it was Amanda. Yeah, it was Amanda Brotzman from Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Yes, God, it's still so disappointing that show got canceled.
And while we're on that show, Bart from that show as well. My two favorites.
Yes, Bart's amazing.
God damn it! Why'd that show have to get canceled? It was so good, Farrah.
Because we were never meant to have anything good in life.
All right. Well, now that I'm depressed, we should move on to the fourth and final question from Thomas Buckner. What are your bold predictions for WWE in 2018?
Bold predictions, huh?
Ooh, I like this.
Didn't you already come up with a bunch of? Didn't we have a similar question to this last month?
Probably, but they've probably changed since then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. What was one big prediction that I had? Until dual branded pay-per-views came in and fucked my shit up.
Fuck dual branded paper. I really do hope that it's just Backlash and Money in the Bank, and then we go back to 2 a month. Seriously.
Brother, hey, we'll have a lot more to say about that because remember, we do have a dual branded pay-per-view question on here.
Oh, that's right.
That laugh says everything.
I get to unload people.
You know what? Fuck it. They said bold predictions. They didn't exactly mean accurate predictions. I think Sami Zayn's going to be the one to turn on Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens is going to have a babyface run.
Me too. Yes.
I think Andrade is going to win Money in the Bank. Like they said, bold, not accurate. Again, just want to reiterate.
No, the idea of it being a prediction implies that you think it has a shot of happening.
I do think it has a shot of happening because Andrade is fucking El Idolo, or if you want to say it, Nigel Stutter, El Idolo. I think Gargano will become an Intercontinental Champion.
Ooh, that's bold as hell.
I think Miz will become a WWE Champion because he'll find his way back on SmackDown. You can also copy paste that with Seth Rollins. I think AJ Styles will have another heel turn in the future.
I mean, I guess my bold prediction would be that Triple H is going to hold the WWE title by the end of the year.
And yeah, that'll be my final bold prediction before I hand it over to you to completely. John Cena will get his 17th world title reign.
Oh, nice. All right. Roman Reigns will lose the title at some point before the end of the year before winning it back. So that's kind of a bold prediction because I think everyone already knows that he's winning it at Mania, and I think most people think he's just going to hold it for a whole year or at least until the very end of this year. So I think he's going to lose it and get it back before that. Man, I really liked your prediction. Here's a little bit of a bold prediction, which, maybe it shouldn't be bold because of the win-loss record, but I still think it's bold relative to the context of it. I think that Roderick Strong and the Undisputed Era will all be called up before Andrade Cien Almas, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. And speaking of call-ups, I think that the Authors of Pain will get called up post-Mania, although that's not really bold. That's not bold. I mean, I think it was a bold prediction for me to say that War Machine is going to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, considering they haven't even debuted yet. I think that Ricochet is going to get a match with Velveteen Dream on TakeOver New Orleans.
Nice.
I think that, God, I feel like these predictions aren't bold enough. I've got to go bolder. Let's see. How about... Let's go really bold. Dakota Kai is the NXT Women's Champion before the end of the year.
Ooh, okay.
I think there's a built-in story there. I think Shayna is going to win it on the next show. She won't lose it back to Ember, and then by the end of the year, Dakota is going to come back trying to get revenge on the woman that injured her.
Very nice. I like that.
There's a built-in story, so it's bold because nobody expects it to happen, but it's not bold because I can explain it away.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You know what, Brandon? I like that you mentioned Aleister Black. I'll say Aleister Black is going to be an Intercontinental Champion by the end of the year.
I like that. I was even thinking of my own Aleister Black prediction. I think he's going to have, because they said 2018, I think Aleister Black is going to, you know what? I'll go for broke. I think he's going to beat John Cena in a pay-per-view match at some point in 2018.
I mean, is that really going for broke anymore, given Cena's recent track record?
I mean, certainly not, but I do think Aleister Black, I should say, very soon after getting called up, will be working with big-time names, and I think John Cena will be one of the first ones.
I like that. I definitely like that, yeah. I think Vince is going to see a lot of dimes in Aleister Black.
Yeah.
I think we're going to cut it off there, because if I keep going, I'm going to end up stretching and being really nonsensical. So let's just move on. Next, we have 4 questions from Ella. Ella Says Stuff on Twitter. First up, if you could have a private movie theater screening, what movie would you watch?
Easy for me, because if you think about a private screening, you would think that things would be conducive to how you want it. And I never really did understand like people's big obsession with like surround sound, or like, oh, the sound comes in like this. But I would love like the utmost sophistication with sound and stuff like that for a screening of Whiplash, because it's my favorite fucking film. And the final like 5 to 10 minutes of it to have like just the utmost in sound quality for the final performance of the film would be just orgasmic to me. So yeah, private screening of Whiplash with just the most sophisticated sound, like enhancing technology and stuff like that available, and it would just be heaven for me, like a great cinematic experience. So that's
awesome. See, and if I could pick one for you, I would want you to get the full cinematic experience with 3D and surround sound of Avatar.
Ah, yeah, because yeah, that is the only way to watch a movie like that. And you know, you and I have both said that. So
yeah,
is that your answer for yourself?
Iconic Player One. What did you say?
I said, is that your answer for yourself, or do you have a different one for yourself?
No, that's my answer for you. That's because I've already seen it in that. I've already had that experience, but I want you to have it. So that was like what I was really hoping you would say. But then, I mean, Whiplash, I can't force anything else upon you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But no, I love that Iconic Player One said Infinity War. That's such a good answer, but I can't give that answer because, like, I feel like Infinity War is going to be a splooge fest, whether you get it in surround sound in 3D or not. So, like, when I'm thinking like a private movie theater screening, I'm thinking like the works. Like, I get to sit in a lounge chair or like lay in a bed or some extravagant shit like that. I get the biggest screen, like IMAX available. I get 3D if I want it. I get the big, crazy Dolby surround sound setup, and I'm just in my heaven. And the answer that I think is going to throw some people off because I don't ever talk about this movie because I haven't even seen it before, but based exclusively on trailers, the movie that I think would be the most amazing, crazy cinematic experience in that setting would be Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Oh man, you know what I love about that answer though is like everybody decries it as like this box office bomb and this and that, but visually it looks gorgeous. So like yeah. I can't even blame you for flipping that coin. Oh man. Interesting choice, dude.
Yeah. So if yeah, I mean, obviously Infinity War I think would definitely be a really good answer if there isn't like a really good 3D-ified version of Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, but that would be my first go-to because of how freaking gorgeous that movie looks. So, second question from Ella, what are your thoughts on Bo Dallas?
Incredible heel that I think even now as part of the Miztourage is still somewhat underutilized. I feel like he has a lot more to give than what he's been given. And again, specifically as a heel, and he can always hang his hat on his NXT work. And I feel like even with the Joes, the Nakamura's, I can honestly say with a straight face that Bo Dallas was still one of the best NXT champions the brand ever had. So what about you, Ashton?
NXT Bo Dallas is one of the most entertaining performers that the WWE has even had in a while. Main roster Bo Dallas was horribly misused and to this day hasn't recovered from it.
Yeah. So, next question from Ella.
Third question from Ella. With both of you being atheists, do either one of you ever second guess your beliefs or are you confident in them?
You know, it's funny. Like I even posted on Twitter today because like some of my closest colleagues in philosophy like are theistic. And I do very much enjoy reading the literature and reading about the thinkers and stuff like that that influenced theology and theistic philosophy. So I think when I go into any work, I try and keep an open mind. But I would say in my personal life, I am quite confident in my atheism. I don't really second guess it, if ever. And if I ever do, maybe it's because like, oh man, that was really good. But then I'm like, nah, you know, it could just be explained away by this. So yeah, I'd say I'm pretty confident in my atheism for the most part.
Yeah. I think there was a time that I would have been like really staunch, like, oh, absolutely not, never, ever, ever. I know. And now I'm just like, you know, I don't really care enough about it. And like, I don't think I'm ever going to be not atheist because of the fact that like, there's just the absence of information does not equal you know, this one thing that pretends to fill said information. Like just because I don't know how a thing works, that doesn't mean that it's God's doing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, like the absence of that, like not knowing something doesn't mean that somebody that has a nonsensical explanation is right because that's the only answer that I know available right now. Like,
Right, or like God of the Gaps you're saying is something you rebuke wholeheartedly.
well, yeah, and that's yeah, exactly. So, and plus, like, I just don't feel like it's worth worrying about anymore. Like, I used to be a really angry atheist. Like, oh, there would be so much, like, the world would be so much better if there was no religion and all these people are killing each other over nothing. And while that stuff's all true, I've also accepted that there's not a damn thing I can do to change it. So why bother being angry about it?
Yeah, it's always been weird for me, and you and I have talked about this because like I'll have those moments where I'm like I turn into that angry atheist because I'll read something that'll like really anger me, like, oh, this zealot, these Christian zealots is like parents kick their child out of their home for being gay or like something like that, and I'll just be like, oh, fuck all this. But really, and you know me, like I've always been a very like, live and let live, love and kind. Love and be loved, I should say. And yeah, like I have a lot of close friends of mine that I love dearly. I mean, Sal's one of them. Sal.
Yeah, like, Sal. I know. Yeah, he's great. And
yeah, but I mean, he is like.
I think that over the years, I've kind of gone from that angry atheist to just kind of flat out just a compassionate human being who can, see somebody for who they are and try and understand where they arrived at their conclusions and not judge them for it.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I think we both really said kind of where we're at, and there's only nothing I can add, so I guess we can move on.
All right, fourth and final question from Ella. What did you spend your first paychecks on?
Well, I've only ever known one formal paycheck in my life because I've always been on disability, and I feel like when she says paycheck, it means like, oh, a job or something where you earned it. And that was when I did that op-ed for the New York Times, and I can tell you, I didn't even spend it. I gave it to my family to save for a second vehicle. So I gave it away more or less. And yeah, everything else. I mean, if we are talking more general, like what do I do with the stuff I get? Well, after my necessities are met, sometimes I'll buy a Steam game. I bought birthday gifts for a dear friend of mine, today. I felt good about that. But first paycheck, yeah, I've never really had one of those, and I couldn't even really remember like what was done with it. So yeah, I'm just going with the New York Times one. And again, I gave that away. So what about you though, Ashton? Because you've been a working guy. What did you
Well, my first paycheck came in August of 2008. 2007. August of 2007. It was for 2 weeks of work, and it wasn't like I showed up to the job, worked 2 weeks, and then quit or got fired. It was just the intention was for me to go on a 2-week vacation with my dad, work for the company he worked for, and then come home, and that's what happened. And the check, I think it was like $600 for the work that I had done. And I basically just put it away and ended up blowing through all of it when I was in college to live, to survive, like literally just to like feed myself and shit like that. So yeah, that's not an interesting story, but that's all it was.
All right, next set of questions.
4 questions, or no, 4, not 4, 3 questions from Heel Zane on YouTube. What do you think about the pay-per-views all being co-branded? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
I fucking hate it.
Right? It's the worst. What are they thinking? We literally just got the brand split a year and a half ago, and we're already going back to this bullshit.
Yeah, these non-committal motherfuckers.
And it's worse when it's like they're never willing to admit their mistakes otherwise, but suddenly now they are about this.
Like, I honestly would have just preferred the idea of, okay, guys, certain pay-per-views are going to trade off. So 1 year Money in the Bank will be a SmackDown pay-per-view, but then the next year it'll be Raw. But if you're sharing everything, like, it takes away the uniqueness. Roman Reigns is going to main event every show. Not as many people are going to be on pay-per-view cards. As I feel like these are all points that you made, Ash, when we were playing Rocket League together that one night, and we were just ranting about it. Yeah, just like everything about it is garbage. I hate it. I feel like it's a huge step back for the company. I have no idea why they're doing it. And yeah, I mean, is there anything that you want to add if you want to get into the nooks and crannies of it? Because I just hate everything about it. So,
I mean, I kind of regret not recording our discussion about it the other day because John and I, we were playing Rocket League a few nights ago, and we had a really good in-depth discussion regarding the dual branded pay-per-views. And to me, like, the biggest problem is that the way that most fans, including us, perceive somebody as having received an actual push is getting match time on a pay-per-view. Like that's the ultimate goal. Like it's not just, oh, they get TV time or, oh, you know, they get matches on Raw and SmackDown and shit like that. No, like the reason that we want to see people on the main roster is because we want them to have pay-per-view quality matches. And you're not going to have those on Raw and SmackDown. So it's going to be, you know, we want them to have these big story-driven feuds that culminate in pay-per-view matches. That's the whole fucking point. And now we're talking about pay-per-views that are going to have the Universal title, the WWE title, the Intercontinental title, the US title, the SmackDown Women's title, the Raw Women's title, the Raw Tag Team title, the SmackDown Tag title, and the 205 Live Cruiserweight belt. That's 9 championships. So not only are we not going to be able to have every championship defended on every show, which I don't necessarily even expect now, but it happens more times than not because there are only 4 or 5 titles on each show now. But we're talking about 9 championships to be defended either A, on the pay-per-view or B, on the B show. And where are you going to find any room for non-title feuds to pay off on pay-per-views when you have to get title matches onto your show? When both of these shows are going to be basically competing with each other for slots on the pay-per-view. And like, of course, because we're going to be doing these dual-branded pay-per-views now, rather than just having Raw pay-per-views main evented by Roman Reigns defending his title in a 25-minute boring match that sounds and feels and looks the same every single month, it's going to be the only thing that we get every month, main evented by Roman Reigns. Because you know the WWE title is never going to main event over the Universal title. It's still Vince McMahon. He still sees Raw as the breadwinner. So, of course, the Universal title is going to main event every single show, which means that for the foreseeable future, we're going to close out every pay-per-view with a Roman Reigns match. How exciting is that?
Oh, Jesus. And then Hypothesis said in chat that he heard that all the pay-per-views are going to be 4 hour. Like, mentally, I don't know if I could take it. Like,
I would rather literally watch 3 hours of wrestling on one day and 3 hours of wrestling the next day than have to watch 4 hours of wrestling on one day.
Yeah, I feel like you pretty much hit the nail on the head there for me too. Like,
and this isn't even consecutive days, what we've been doing. It's sometimes occasionally consecutive weeks, but most of the time there's a week or two of space in between the pay-per-views. Like, nothing good is going to come out of this at all. Like, they're going to make less money. There's going to be less incentive to buy the network because you're only getting 1 show a month instead of 2. People, they might get better attendance at the live shows, but I don't even know for sure about that. I just don't see where the positives are in this. It really does seem just like it's basically canceling Talking Smack all over again. It's just a decision that makes no sense, benefits no one, doesn't seem to be worth the amount of money it might be saving them, and is going to make the product worse as an end result. So thanks, Vince, for fucking everything up.
Yeah, I think you pretty much said it perfectly. Next question.
Second question from Heel Zane. Who would you like to compete in the Money in the Bank matches, both men's and women's, and why? And who is your pick to win?
Men's and women's Money in the Bank matches.
Can I say something here too regarding the dual branded thing? Well, if we're going to have dual branded pay-per-views, then we're most likely going to have one men's Money in the Bank and one women's Money in the Bank briefcase, which means that men and women from both brands are going to be fighting over the briefcase, which means that the men's Money in the Bank ladder match is going to consist of mostly people that have already held the title. It's going to be Randy Orton versus John Cena versus Seth Rollins versus maybe Dean Ambrose if he's back by then. And if he's not, then it'll be Finn Balor versus, it's going to be all guys that we've seen every single week for years because they're already established and they're the top guys. And why is it going to be that way? Because when there are 8 guys that have to fill out a Money in the Bank ladder match for one brand, you only have 3 to maybe 5 main event guys that are already established and have titles. And you have to fill the rest of that match out with mid-carders and young up-and-comers like Elias, like Braun, like Nakamura, like, those kinds of guys. And we're not going to see them now. We're not going to see, and we might see 1 or 2 of them, but we're not going to see nearly as many as we would have if they were still brand specific pay-per-views. So already we're already talking about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view basically being ruined by going dual branded, because we're going to get an oversaturation of established main event talent in a match that's supposed to be a star creator, not a star supplementer.
Yeah. So I guess to answer that, since originally Money in the Bank was supposed to be a Raw pay-per-view, this year before the whole dual branded shit.
Well, yeah, and it says who would you like to compete, not who do you think will. So yeah, go ahead.
Who I would like to compete. Well, I definitely want Andrade in that spot. I've been saying that forever now. And since it's compete and not necessarily win, I'd say Andrade, Seth, a healthy and heel Dean Ambrose. Got to think about SmackDown too, since it's dual branded. So that's 3 people.
Just to specify, you said healthy and heel, not healed.
Yeah, healthy and heel Dean Ambrose. Yes. That's 3 people. I would put Andrade on SmackDown. I've already made that clear. So that's 1 SmackDown guy, 2 Raw guys. And if it's 8 total, it should be 4 for 4. We'll get Baron Corbin another Money in the Bank match because, he'll want to redeem himself from how horrible his cash-in went last time. So that's 4, 2 SmackDown, 2 Raw. And then my other 2 Raw guys, will give Braun Strowman the Big Show spot with the big ladder and just being able to dominate. And Finn Balor. And on the SmackDown side with the other 2, I'll say, I'll say Bobby Roode and AJ Styles. So, yeah, that's my men's at least. Do you want to go on men's?
So you're going with Andrade, Seth, Braun, Elias. Who was your 4th Raw?
No, Braun, Dean, Finn, then Rude, then AJ.
Well, I'm gonna say Elias then. I'm gonna say Elias, Braun, Seth, and Miz on Raw.
Okay.
And then on SmackDown, I'll roll with Elias just because you did, and I love that idea. But then I'll also add in Nakamura. And I'm thinking Sami Zayn. And God, SmackDown blows. Let's draft over to SmackDown. Let's actually, no, you know what? Let's do this. Because you've already been talking about it, let's send Seth over to SmackDown. I've wanted Andrade on Raw all along, so I'm going to just switch them. So now Seth is on SmackDown, Andrade's on Raw, but we still need a 4th SmackDown guy. Fuck it. Let's just go with Corbin. You already mentioned him, so there's my 8.
All right. Then on the women's side, I would.
Can I go first for the women?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, so for the women, I want Becky, Bayley, Sasha, Asuka. Although Asuka will be champion by then. So in this universe that we're talking about, I have Asuka being my champion on Raw, and Carmella being my champion on SmackDown. So we'll get all 4 horsewomen in there, plus also the iconic duo, and they'll both be on Raw. So then we need 2 more SmackDown people, and let's go with Ruby Riott, and let's draft over to SmackDown, or I guess shake up over to SmackDown. Sonya Deville, I guess. I don't know. Alexa. We'll go Alexa will be the 8th person. It makes sense.
Okay, so if these are just people that we like, I'm going to copy paste your iconic duo. So that's 2 right there. And I'll put them on Raw, I guess. I don't know. Sasha.
Well, we're on Raw for me.
All right, so I'll go with that. Sasha for Raw. And I'm also going to draft and put on Raw Shayna Baszler, and she'll be the 4th woman in there.
Really? That early? Damn.
Yeah. SmackDown side, Naomi, because she was the champion for the first Women's Money in the Bank, so this would be her first ladder match.
Oh.
I like your idea of Ruby Riott, Becky Lynch, and Kairi Sane. So draft her to SmackDown, get that going there. So, yeah, that's my 8 woman in the back.
So you are really purging NXT. You're just not leaving anyone left.
Yeah. Purge's got to come eventually.
I mean, I feel like Shayna coming up that early is really going to hurt.
I mean,
I feel like they've already kind of built up a story that almost requires her becoming champion in April. So you're talking about 2-3 months later bringing her up already.
Yeah. Still, though, they said, who would you like? I feel like she'd be an interesting fit in there as more like the grappler, you know, kind of in an foreign environment. And I don't know, it'd be intriguing to see. Plus, with like the Ronda stuff, I don't know if they want to keep Ronda a babyface. I could see tension within the, you know, 4 horsewomen on that side with Shayna being the heel. And, you know, that could be very interesting. So, just kind of
all right. Third and final question from Heel Zane. Who is going to go heel first, Sasha Banks or Bailey? That's an easy one for me. Sasha, I don't know if Bailey's ever going to go heel, honestly.
Yeah, Sasha definitely, and I agree with you even about the Bailey stuff. I don't know if there's like a heel turn ever in her future, which, unlike Cena and Reigns, may not necessarily be a bad thing. It's just got to be written better, and we know that like NXT could do it. We're just waiting for the main roster to do it. So, next question.
All righty, next question. We've got 4 from Mark Schoeneman. First up, suppose we got a Mortal Kombat inspired Lucha Underground game. What would be the order in which you face the luchadors on the hardest difficulty in story mode?
Now, I want to add a little bit here because I couldn't fit it all on one line. Have you ever played the Mortal Kombat games, Ashton?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know it's like a ladder thing. So really, it would be like picking 10 luchadors on the hardest difficulty that would make up that ladder. So I'll go first. And this one, we can do a back and forth. I think because Pentagon's the champion, he should be the final rung on the ladder, just logically. Is that agreeable to you?
Yeah.
Or, I think Matanza should be the penultimate rung because, you know, he's insane. I would honestly prefer him to be the final rung, but he's not the champion, so it feels out of place. So I'll make him the penultimate rung. You name a couple here because I'm kind of working backwards from top to bottom. Do you have any names you'd want on there and what place they'd be?
All right, so the final rung for me would also, I'm just going to stick with you and just go with the champion Pentagon. For him, though, I got to go with Cage. Then before him, I'll roll with Matanza. Before him, Mill. Before him, Marty. And then your first opponent, Drago.
Okay, I'm actually going to type out my rung because it's 10 people. So number 10, Pentagon.
10? I didn't know it was 10. Jesus.
I can't even do enter shift. God damn it. Yeah, ignore that message, Ashton, because that was me like having a fucking typo here. Let me pull up this document here and do that.
I didn't know it was 10 people. Okay, well, if it's 10 people, I guess I gotta add more to mine. Okay, so I mean, Drago would not make sense as like the 5th or whatever it was. So my 10th would be Pentagon, 9 Cage, 8 Matanza, 7 Mill, 6 Marty, 5 Ray. Let's not include people that aren't going to be around. So let's not include Ray or Prince Puma. 5 Mariposa, because then you get to Marty afterwards. So that makes sense. 4 Johnny Mundo. No, I'm moving them around a little more. Okay, so 10 Pentagon, 9 Cage, 8 Matanza, 7 Mill, 6 Johnny Mundo, 5 Taya, 4 Mariposa, 3 Marty, 2 Drago, 1 the first person you face, El Dragon Azteca Jr.
Okay. I'm just typing mine out, working backwards from 1 to 10, like top of the ladder to the bottom of the ladder. Right now I have Pentagon, Matanza, Cage. So I have Matanza and Cage in a different order than you. Mil Muertes. I'm going to say kill. I am going to say Marty the Moth for my 5th rung. Marty the Moth. And then, ooh, you know what? Pindar. No, not Pindar. Vibora is going to be 6 for me.
Nice.
7. God, you know what? I think I will do Mariposa because I want to get at least one of the badass luchadoras in there. I hope we get. Like, pardon?
I got 2.
Yeah. Johnny Mundo will be 8. And the only reason he's lower than Mariposa is because he's not as creepy. He's like the Johnny Cage of Mortal Kombat, but without the douche. Well, I mean, with the douchiness, but in a much better way than Johnny Cage. I do like your idea about, you know what? I think Aerostar will be my number 9. You gotta get some baby faces in a Mortal Kombat ladder. And then 10, I'll do Killshot. Then just to read off my complete list, at the top of the ladder, Pentagon, then Matanza, Cage, Mil Muertes, Marty the Moth, Vibora, Mariposa, Johnny Mundo, Aerostar, Killshot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Second question from Mark. What is the most bizarre gimmick match that you can come up with? One of your own creation.
Oh, I'll go first on this one because there's actually a story behind this.
Okay.
When I was younger, I had dreams of starting like my own wrestling promotion, and I would have called it Continental Championship Wrestling, so CCW. And I had this idea for this match that was like Elimination Chamber inspired, but it was like this dome, architecturally speaking, that's just like solid like steel. And the floor is just entirely made out of barbed wire. And the idea was to escape the dome, like without falling into all that barbed wire. And then a friend like had to interject and be like, no, that match will literally kill people. So yeah, it was just like this death dome, if you will, that like you just had to escape to survive. So it was like a combination of Elimination Chamber plus the most grotesque gore porn you can think of out of a Saw film. And yeah, that was a concept I came up with.
So that's your answer, huh?
Yep.
I love it. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I love just hearing stories about what your teenage mind thought up.
I know, right?
All right. God, this is really, really difficult. I don't want to do any on a poll bullshit. Okay, here's an idea. Survivor Series type match, right?
Okay.
But the catch is, and this would be a match that would go for easily like an hour, hour and a half. So the catch is basically it's dodgeball rules. So it's a 5-on-5 match. And when you eliminate someone, rather than leaving and going to the back, they get locked in some kind of chamber or pod or shark cage or some kind of something like that, just to prevent them from interfering in the match. But if somebody on the team with an eliminated person gets an elimination on the opposing team, they get to bring someone back from their own team.
Ooh, interesting.
So, like, for example, and I'm just going to use 3-on-3 context to make it as simple as possible rather than going to the 5-on-5 and making it convoluted. If we had a 3-on-3 match and Roman Reigns pinned Bray Wyatt, we'll just go Shield versus Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt's out, but then if Luke Harper pins Dean Ambrose, not only is Ambrose out, but Bray gets to come back. So now it's a 2-player swing. You get to go from 3-2 advantage Shield to 3-2 advantage Wyatts.
Interesting. I really like that.
Yeah. So and then that just keeps on going until there is nobody left on one of the teams, and that it would take a lot longer depending on how you booked it than your typical like Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination match. But I think that it would do. From a kayfabe perspective, it does a much better job of making sure that the better team wins.
Yeah. No, I really like that concept, actually.
Yay!
Next question.
Next question, third question from Mark Schoeneman. Is there a match that, no matter how much we were able to donate to the Patreon, you would absolutely not live react to?
I don't think there is a match because you guys are so amazing as patrons that I would.
I've got one.
Okay.
The mass transit incident.
Yeah. Okay. And if I had to pick one, even though I still would do it, Jenna Morasca versus Sharmell. Like,
I would still live react to that. There's no reason not to.
I don't know. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to my wrestling at times. I would not be able to take that. I'd be like, get that shit out of my sight. So that's my
would you be able to react to that? God, who was it? It's Shelly Martinez versus it was a recent-ish match. It was like I don't remember. It was a Shelly Martinez match, and during the match, she was like, "Ow, my tit" or something like that. Like it got like I think it got like a -5 stars from PWI or something. I don't know, but yeah, there was like another one that was kind of like the Sharmell Jenna Morasca match. But yeah, I bad wrestling is as long as it's like well produced, and like that's another thing is like if you're trying to get us to live react to a backyard promotion, I really don't think that we would be willing to do that either. Like,
no, I'd be so glad about the prospect, to be honest.
I appreciate you guys wanting us to see stuff that you know about, but I really want to try and keep at least the visual quality of the wrestling that we're reacting to up to a certain standard, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and the other one is the Muta match where the Muta scale was invented.
Okay.
So that's and that Eddie Guerrero match where he got busted open way too fucking much against JBL.
Oh, I actually really like that match because of the story, but yeah, that was, I mean, buckets of blood right there. So next question.
All right, next question, fourth and final question from Mark Shoneman. What is more impressive, Chris Jericho beating The Rock and Stone Cold on the same show, or Seth Rollins beating Roman Reigns and John Cena on the same show?
Originally when I first saw this question, I was like, oh, easily Seth Rollins beating Roman Reigns and John Cena, but I want to make sure that's not recency bias.
Yeah, no, to me, it's definitely Jericho beating Rock and Austin because they were.
Yeah, I have to agree.
They were both at the peak of their powers at that point, and Jericho was still like he had only been in the company for like a year and a half at that point. And
I think if you were to qualify it, because like if we're looking at it from like politics and like the real issues present, right? Definitely Jericho getting that kind of a push.
Well, and plus I guess we do also have to take into account that Jericho had help.
That's what I was gonna say. Like on the kayfabe side, definitely Rollins beating Reigns and Cena because he did both of those things clean. Right. So kayfabe Seth, but if we're looking at like the real business and a guy getting that kind of nod, definitely Jericho because that nod was fucking huge. So
I guess you know how my mind immediately starts working when we get questions like this. I never think about the kayfabe side of it, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We got 4 questions from Cliff Mall, and then 1 question from Bullet Club versus the Shield, and then our final questions for Alex Foster. So let's get into Cliff.
Actually, before you get into that, I just want to ask very quickly because Asia did ask much earlier in chat, like if she could submit like a second question, and I am looking at it on Twitter. So is that a problem? Could we just
absolutely not. What is it?
Or no, well, let's get to Cliff first. When we get to Bullet Club versus the Shield, we'll get into that.
Yeah, just you know what? Just copy it and paste it in the Hangouts chat, and I'll mark it down, and we won't have to worry about it. So, next though, we do have 4 from Cliff Mall. First up, what are your thoughts on Jeff Jarrett going into the Hall of Fame? I'm going to answer this first because I have the most succinct possible answer. I could not possibly give fewer shits about who goes into the WWE Hall of Fame and who doesn't. And people that care like passionately about it confuse the hell out of me.
Copy paste. Next question.
All right. Well, second question from Cliff Mall. What are your that was the same one. If the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl again, would you guys be willing to do a Super Bowl live reactions? Personally, on my end, I would really rather not because the Super Bowl is something that I like to be able to just kind of be quiet and focus on for a while. I don't necessarily want to be like turned on, and not sexually, but like I don't want to have to be like performing the entire time that I watch the Super Bowl.
Now I'm thinking about you engaging football sexually, and it's just the fucking most hilarious thing.
God damn it.
But yeah, I'm with you. Football to me is like a personal thing in the sense that, you know, I just like to enjoy it for its own sake and not like turning it into any kind of content. So I don't think so.
All right. So third question from Cliff Mall is just for me. What are some bands or musicians that you've been listening to lately? Well, my friend, I can pull up my Napster playlist and I can inform you. First of all, I've been listening to a lot of Kyle lately. I've listened to Kyle before, but it's just something that I've been into lately. I know that the Chainsmokers have a few new songs out. I've liked some of them. There is a new song out called Tell Me You Love Me by a group called Throttle. And it's Throttle, it's Galantis, like it's kind of a mystery wrapped in a conundrum because they don't actually tell people who does the vocals for their songs. So I don't even know what the name of the female that sings the song is, but I absolutely love it. There's a song called Crazy by Lost Frequencies, Supernova by Ansel Elgort. Let's see. Jax Jones has a new song out called Breathe that I've been digging. Martin Garrix and David Guetta did a collaboration on a song called So Far Away. Get It Right by Diplo. The Middle by Zed. Dude, Zed, like, I don't know what's been going on over the last few years with producers becoming like the staple name of like the artist listed for songs. But like you talk about, I mean, Martin Garrix and David Guetta I already discussed. Zed is another one. Rudimental is another one. I mean, there are other ones that Clean Bandit is another one. There are so many just producers that are getting artist credits that I've become a big fan of. I just saw Iconic Player One say Imagine Dragons for Life. I'm pretty sure Imagine Dragons makes their songs with the intent of them being used in commercials at this point. Like they just make them with that intention in mind. A lot of Justin Timberlake stuff that he put out in February was really good. I actually did end up downloading the Man in the Woods album, and it's pretty good. It's not great. I think my favorite song on it is Say Something with, oh God, I forget the guy's name. It's Chris something. I don't remember it though. Rudimental These Days is another good one. The name of the group is Rudimental These Days is the name of the song, and it's featuring Jess Glynn. I love Jess Glynn. She's awesome. Hurt Somebody by Noah Kahan. Dua Lipa's killing it. She had the new song IDGAF, and it's great. Chainsmokers, I already mentioned. Man, Chromeo has a new track out. I used to like Chromeo is a group that I discovered back in like the mid 2000s because of a dance show on MTV, and I liked their music back then. And they have a new-ish song that's legitimately getting like airplay, and it's blowing my mind. It's called Juice. It's like, you got the juice, and it's like, it's their style. It's like their funky, like poppy boppy style, and I love it. But I'm just surprised that it's actually getting airtime. It's crazy to me. So yeah, that's a general idea of what I've been listening to lately as far as music goes. And that about covers it, I think. I'm not really a whole lot outside of what I just mentioned. I'm sure there's something that I missed, but you know, I'm not gonna stress out over it. No sweat off my back. John, next question from Cliff is just for you. And I think, did Cliff ever ask a different question? I don't think he did, but the original question was, how'd your conference in Colorado go? You already kind of answered that. I told Cliff that he could ask a different question in place of that, but I don't think he ever did.
Yeah, so I guess we move on to the next question.
Well, our next questions are from Bullet Club versus the Shield, and we do have two of them now, and they're both just for you, John. First one is, don't you feel bad for Ember Moon? She had to deal with Asuka's reign of terror, and as soon as Asuka left, Shayna Baszler steps in and gets all the spotlight.
Yeah, I love like her whole question because like I normally cut off when people give like their own thoughts on it, but Asia had the best part because it's like that moon about to fade. I just like read it in that voice and I died because I'm like, oh shit, Asia Dragon, everybody. Yeah, it does suck for Ember, honestly, but at the same time, maybe if she had a better character, you know, this would be an easier pill to swallow. So, like, I don't want to victim blame.
I don't think the problem is with the character, though. I think the character has the potential to be cool. I think the problem is with her promos.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. So, like, if the most interesting thing about you, at least for me, is you getting your arm torn apart, like, I don't want to be the victim blaming guy, but you know, kind of do some inner reflection there. Yeah.
They should have put the title on Peyton in November.
Dude, the idea that the Iconic Duo still hasn't gotten a run is a fucking crock. But yeah, that moon, to quote Asia, that moon about to fade. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely.
All right, and our second most recent question from Asia from Bullet Club versus the Shield. John, I want you to imagine a world where Ciampa murders Kairi Sane. Would Johnny Goodfellow finally die?
Yes, which means I need to get in contact with Ciampa immediately. Thank you, Asia, for the roadmap. Next question.
All right, we've got 4 questions from Alex Foster. First one just for Johnny Goodfellow. Explain the birds and the bees to Kairi Sane.
Don't make me do this. Well, I really never thought I'd be up here talking about when people have relations. So this is kind of awkward for me, but I guess I would explain it to Kairi because she's so pure and we don't want to corrupt that. But at the same time, I do believe sex education is very important. That when you
said the word.
I know. Okay, I'm working on it. God, I feel so dirty. I need to take a bath with my rubber ducky soon. I'm just really feeling uncomfortable, but okay, I can get through this. Okay. Imagine the 2 people on the same pirate ship really like collecting treasure together, and it's a really fun thing for them, and they feel very fulfilled by it, and they're really feeling close in the Enterprise, and maybe, just maybe, one wants to kind of warm up one night, so they snuggle up to the other one by the mast of the ship, And they're doing stargazing, and then I'd say they do other kinds of gazing at
Is
the
it full
human
mast or
anatomy.
half mast?
And like I just feel like the kind of gazing they do with the human body is very shall we say intimate, and they kind of make an exchange with each other, and they show that the greatest treasure of all is the human experience. Never ask me this question again, please. I am terribly uncomfortable, and I have PTA meetings to attend tomorrow, and there's a lot of baking I need to do for them for everybody to feel welcome. So I hope that answers your question. I don't know. I was always very uncomfortable in sex ed. I mean, I just, I'm a Mr. Rogers guy. If you just give me a sweater, I can really get by. I don't really think about people smushing their thingies together and making whoopee like that. So I think I'm just going to see myself out, but definitely just look at it as a very different kind of voyage that involves a very different kind of pirate ship. And I think you can kind of connect the dots from there. So I think I'll show myself out.
Holy shit.
Are you all right?
I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Oh my god, that was too good to be true. Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.
I'm just like, oh my god, this is what I live for all this time. Next question.
You said they were laying next to each other next to the mast of the ship. Holy shit.
That was so much better than I hoped.
You never did specify whether it was half or full mast, by the way.
No, you be kind over there.
Put
that in.
Second I have to move on. Second question from Foster is just for me. You've been taken into the Hardy residence for the rest of your life. How do you cope with daily life? And he also has a note here. The Hardys are around. I mean, hopefully I have a laptop and I can keep doing this shit. It wouldn't be that.
But what if you didn't, though? What if you really had to use your ingenuity in the matter? Like,
I would probably hijack Vanguard 1 and use it to kill the Hardys and escape.
You know what I appreciate? That, like, suicide hasn't even crossed your mind. I admire your will to live.
I value my life, god damn it.
Next question.
Mustafa Ali became my favorite wrestler after his match this week. Name a moment where a wrestler became a personal favorite to you.
Honestly, I was so glad when I saw this question from Alex because, like, I'm trying to remember when I first became a Benoit fan, and it might have just been seeing him. You know what I think it was? I think it was his brief heel run on Raw where he feuded with RVD, though I didn't see their SummerSlam match, and I know Brandon raves over. And then when he went to SmackDown and teamed with Kurt, he made The Rock tap out. I thought that was really fucking cool because Rock was feuding with Brock, and that was in the lead to their SummerSlam match. So yeah, I just think like early Benoit, and then when he turned face and like tagged with Angle, I think that cemented it for me. And then their Royal Rumble match, I'm like, yeah, I'm yours. You've got me for life. So yeah, I think it was just like really a build up for me with Chris as far as like that, and then with Johnny Mundo. Really, I had always liked Nitro, but I wasn't crazy about him. But then when he had the promo where he literally became Morrison, I'm like, oh, this is some cool shit. And I loved his ECW title run. I don't think that gets enough credit personally. And that's really what made me become a fan of his. So I wanted to give you just both of my favorites currently. And then Andrade, I've loved for quite a while. But yeah, so what about you, though, Ash? What was your formative experience with Eddie? I don't know if I've ever asked you that, actually.
I know it was probably a WCW match that I was too young to remember.
Right.
That's the story. That's it.
No, yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to add on your side of the question?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking more like recent because I really since Eddie's death, I haven't really had that one like, oh my god, dead set favorite. For Naito, it was him dominating and beating Tanahashi in G1 his first year as El Ingobernable. For let's see, for Andrade, I mean, I knew he was good from the start because of the match that I saw him have with the 50-year-old Atlantis in a CMLL show. But the moment that I was like, holy shit, this guy's amazing, was his heel turn on Cedric.
Yes.
Let's see. For Mill, it was probably his match against Puma in the main event of Ultima Lucha 1.
Yeah, I can confirm that because your reactions definitely were indicative of that. Yeah.
Let's see. For Adam Cole, it wasn't even a match. It was before a match even started. God damn it. Gotta keep it together. It was before a match even started, and he had the announcer read a card talking about how he was going to beat his opponent, and he named his opponent. And I don't even remember who it was, but it was a black dude, and he used the wrong wrestler, the wrong black wrestler's name. Like if it was ACH, he said Cedric Alexander. If it was Cedric Alexander, he said ACH. And then he was like, "Oops, I mean," and then the actual dude's name, I don't remember who it was. And then the crowd started chanting, "That was racist," clap, 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 clap. And then Adam Cole literally even had on the note, "In the case of a 'that was racist' chance, you can all suck my dick."
Yes.
So that was it for me with Adam Cole. That was when I went from, wow, this guy has a lot of potential, to holy shit, he's the world.
Yeah, he is the world. You're goddamn right he is.
Let's see. For Nakamura, it was his Wrestle Kingdom 9 entrance.
Nice.
I'm just trying to. For PJ, it was actually a match that he had in FCW. I want to say it was against. I think it was Koval at the time. Low-key, that I just absolutely loved. Who else am I freakish? Oh, Buddy Murphy with the tag match between the Dubstep Cowboys and Sin Cara Listo, the Lucha Dragons. I think that was when they first won the tag titles from the
Lucha. Yeah.
I knew I liked Buddy Murphy because I was kind of sort of ish familiar with Matt Silva when he was in Australia. But like seeing him work that match and like the deadlift suplex into the frog splash was just like, holy shit, I'm sold. So yeah, I guess that's about the extent of my list.
All right, next question.
Next question from Foster. This is the final question of this month's Q&A. I can't believe we managed to keep it under 3 hours. What are some of the best / worst / weirdest Pokemon to have as pets, assuming all expenses are paid? I have one answer to this that I believe is the correct answer, and I'm sure there are a lot of other good answers, but I don't know if there's a better answer than this. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Magcargo. Now, if you don't know who Magcargo is, he is the giant slug who is basically made of lava from Gen 3, from the Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald generation. And I'm going to read his Pokedex entry. John, are you ready for this?
Yeah, sure.
Magcargo's body temperature is approximately 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Water is vaporized on contact. If this Pokemon is caught in the raindrops instantly turn to steam, cloaking the area in a thick fog.
Oh, Jesus.
The sun is 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit at the surface.
Holy fuck. Well, yeah, I mean, you die instantly even trying to keep it as a pet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think anything can really beat that. So I'm just going to copy paste. Holy fuck. You really got OP. I mean, you really jumped the shark, Pokemon. Jesus Christ.
I know, right? There was another one, too, that was like Kadabra. Apparently in Fire Red, Kadabra's Pokedex entry says that it happened one morning. A boy with extrasensory powers awoke in bed, transformed into Kadabra.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
It is horrifying. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to kind of, because you have a far more vast Pokemon knowledge than I do. Nothing's going to top that. So I think that's going to conclude Q&A. And yeah, I can't believe that.
By the way, I saw Alex Foster wants to know What made me fall in love with Fandango? NXT Redemption, baby.
Oh, yes.
Johnny Curtis. And it was just that one segment where he chloroformed Matt Stryker and acted like it was no big deal.
Yes. Great times. But yeah, that's it for Q&A. I want to thank everybody for submitting their questions. You guys know how this works. Next month, which will be, let's see, March 29th, will be Q&A number 21. So I'm going to, as soon as we get off here, I'm going to unpin the old tweet. I'm going to do a new pin tweet. It's going to collect all of your questions there. Feel free to submit your questions. You guys already know. I mean, most people are here if you're checking this out for the first time because you're curious about what kind of audience we have. First of all, welcome to your new favorite wrestling podcast. Second of all, it's 4 questions per Q&A, and you can divvy them up however you want. You know, it could be all 4 for me, all 4 for Ashton, or all 4 for both of us if you like sharing, or any combination of any of that shit. So, you know, pin tweet. You could also submit them on this YouTube video or any YouTube video. Our TWitWoW Facebook page. I know that's how Alex Foster usually submits his questions. If you have Discord membership, you could submit in the Discord, which is only $3 a month on Patreon. So yeah, I'm going to get that prepped. And Ashton, I'm going to let you, I guess, do the rest on your side of the outro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember to like the video if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about some of our answers. Maybe let us know. And yes, hypothesis. Okay, I made a mistake. Mag Cargo was 2nd gen. Jesus Christ, dude. Relax. I thought he was 3rd gen. I made a mistake. Okay, I acknowledged you now. You can calm down. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about our answers. Maybe you guys can give us some answers of your own to some of the questions that were asked to us. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to click the bell so that you can get notified every single time we go live or upload a video. We have 2 different options if you would like to contribute, donate, or support the show in any way. We have a Patreon if you're interested in continued coverage of Progress, which is kind of the #1 priority now because it's looking like it's not going to happen for March. Progress is the promotion that we've been covering the most heavily over the last month and a half or 2. And that's because of the Patreon donations that we've even been able to do that, because not only do we have a certain price baked in there just for the time that it takes for us to be able to get the shows and live react to them, and that's kind of work in and of itself, but we also have to bake into it the price of 2 Progress on-demand subscriptions so that we can do that and not have any kind of legal problems or anything like that. We want to support Progress and that kind of thing. So the Progress community goal is not currently being met. We hope to be able to get you guys up to that point by the end of February, but that is only 6 days away. Today's the 22nd. February ends on the 28th. That's a short month. I know most people already know that, but it seems like there are some people that might have just forgotten. And yeah, so Patreon, make sure to get up to the community goal of $120 a month so that we can continue our coverage of Progress. Otherwise, if you're just interested in getting into the TWitWoW patron Discord, you can do that with a mere $3 a month. And that will also accumulate over time, and eventually you'll be able to purchase live reactions and or live reaction and review videos with the money that accumulates with those $3 donations, or if you want to donate more than $3 a month to get the accumulation faster, or if you just want to pay it all in one go. I know we've had just recently, Jackie donated $21.50 in 1 month just to be able to get us to live react and review an 1.5-hour long show, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And of course, the other option to support us is through our Teespring store. You can buy merch, get physical return for your money, whether it's a t-shirt or a mug or a sticker, and we will see a portion of those proceeds. And finally, make sure to follow us both on Twitter and like the Facebook, and share this video and this channel with all of your wrestling fan friends, and let them know that this is the best kept secret in the YouTube wrestling community, and we are the workhorses of the YWC. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Elimination Chamber preview and predictions, but of course you got to remember to stay tuned.